Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Can you hear me? Yes, I think you can. Hello, everybody. I hope we're doing fantastic. It is great to see all of you. Hello. I am in my little booth over here in Weissenhaus for the Freestyle chess tour, which is really cool. And today we are seeing the semifinals. And I started the stream an hour late because I was doing some filming. And honestly, because I am an impatient woman and classical games, when the players think for 30 minutes, chat, it can get a little long. So I decided to start this stream a little bit later, but it is fantastic to see all of you. I'm excited to have you in my booth. Yesterday, I played against Alexander Botas and I played Freestyle chess and I had so much fun. Like, I haven't known what these players right now are going through, but now I do. Now I know what they're going through. Like 100% now. So it was so cool to get myself into the brain of a freestyle chess player, and I won the match. Yay! I never got to celebrate with you, but I won the match, and it's the first time that I beat Alex in a match, so it honestly meant a lot to me. And I came to the realization of this. I think I would do good in freestyle chess. Like, I actually think this might be my calling. Because literally my number one issue is chess theory. So honestly, I came to the realization that it might be my calling. Now, if you are, new to this and you're like, Anna, what is freestyle chess? What's going on? Freestyle chess is a different name for Fischer Random or Chess 960, and it's a chess variant where the starting positions are completely random. So instead of having the regular starting position that we have in chess, we have different starting positions, but the rules of chess and everything is the same. So it basically means that you can't use prior opening memorization or opening theory to be able to get an advantage in the opening. You have to figure everything out right there by the board. And right now I'm in Weissenhaus because they are doing the Grand Slam tour, which is a huge tour with a lot of money on the line. The winner of this tournament here gets $200,000, like just by themselves, like one person, $200,000. It's a lot of money on the line. And this is just the first leg from a whole tour. Like, this is going to be going to Paris. This is going to go to New York. This is going to go to India. This is going to go to South Africa. This is going around the world. And we're right now in just leg number 1 in Weissenhaus. But it's really cool. I really enjoyed the match yesterday, and yeah, it's been amazing. The production was also amazing. Literally, like, it was so kind of them. All of production stayed overtime. They didn't even have to be there, but they stayed overtime to produce me and Alex's show. They didn't have to be there. They literally were allowed to just go home, but they all decided that they thought that this was so fun that they wanted to stay and help us. So it was so kind by the production to literally stay overtime and work overtime to help us out with that. It was amazing. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the match yesterday. It was really cool. So now I am in my little booth, and the funniest thing happened. The first few days I was talking about how much I craved Pringles, and I was saying that I really wanted Pringles and all of these kinds of things. And I said that my favorite Pringles are paprika Pringles, and look at this, chat. Yesterday when I walked into my booth, I literally had the realization that they have actually brought Pringles to my booth, and they've literally brought the paprika Pringles. Like, I couldn't believe it. This was simply in my room, and I was like, how do they think about everything? This is actually crazy. And they brought like drinks, and they brought all kinds of things, and I was like, this is completely insane. So yeah. I now have... Who's eaten my Pringles? Okay, nobody has eaten my Pringles. I thought somebody had eaten my Pringles because... yeah. Okay. It looks like it's empty, but it's unopened. So... yeah. Okay, and this one is this one. Do they weigh the same? Okay, I am getting paranoid. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But I got all kinds of things. I also got some chocolate with my beautiful mug. And I got, you know, nuts and grapes and bananas and Twix. And I'm getting treated so well that literally people are coming into my studio to eat my snacks. I had some people from like the other production. They're like, Anna, can we get some chocolate? And I was like, of course. And this is also my sign from yesterday. Look at that. It says Anna Kramling, Sweden. So I thought that that was really cool. But yeah, guys, I have so many snacks. Like, I don't even know what to do with all my snacks. But it's fantastic. I am loving it. I am absolutely loving it here. But anyways, the games have started and we are going to be checking out the games very soon because the semifinals have started today and tomorrow we're going to have the finals. Now, if you don't know what the format is of this tournament, we right now are at a knockout stage. So it's really exciting because people are knocking each other out. And with that, I mean they're doing that on the chessboard. So we're going to check out some of the games in the semifinals. We have the one and only Vincent Keymer versus Magnus Carlsen. Vincent Keymer defeated Magnus Carlsen yesterday in the first game of the semifinals, which means that he only needs a draw today to be able to move to the finals. And at this moment in time, Vincent Keymer has a better position than Magnus. So Magnus must win or he will be knocked out of the tournament and he will not go to finals, which would be pretty crazy because Magnus is Magnus and he's also he won the tournament last year. He's a really strong freestyle chess player, highest ranked person in the world at chess. So it's really cool that Vincent Keymer, the German prodigy, 20 years old, might knock Magnus Carlsen out of the semifinals. And then we have also Fabiana Caruana versus Javakir Sindarov. And these two players drew yesterday, which means that the winner today will be going to finals. The loser will be getting knocked out. And if it's a draw, we are going to be seeing tie breaks. So very, very, very exciting, these two games. We also have a 5th to 8th place playoff, which is going to decide the amount of points that everybody gets and the amount of money, but they are knocked out from the main tournament. And in this one, we have today Nodirbek Abdusattorov versus Alireza Firouzja and Hikaru Nakamura versus Gukesh. Both of these matches ended in a draw yesterday, so today we're going to see who gets what place, basically. But let's go ahead and start with looking at the knockout stage and see how this is going. Let's see. So let me just make sure that this is working. I know there were a little bit of issues today with the broadcast, with the main broadcast. So I hope that it's all working now well. I heard that there were a few issues before, but hopefully it's all good now. So let's go ahead and check this out. Let's go ahead and check this out. Perfect. So here we have Levi and Tanya, and we have Nodirbek over here. Like I said, he is facing right now Alireza Firouzja. So we're gonna start by checking out this game just so that we can see how they are doing. So here we have this position. Let me just put it up so you can see it. Perfect. So here we have it. So this is this position that we have. I'm also really interested to see what the actual starting position was. This, everybody, was today's starting position. So look at this. We have a kind of funny, I can't remember what number it was, but this is the position that they started with. And we have the rook here on A1, like usual, queen on B1, king on C1, knight, rook, knight, and 2 bishops. So this is the starting position that they had, and they had 10 minutes to try to figure out what it is that they want to do in the beginning. So they started with E4 in this game, Alireza Firouzja, C6, and then he went G3, E5, C3, okay, and knight E3. So this is the setup that Alireza Firouzja decided to go for, and then go for a really kind of aggressive B4, probably preparing to go B5, and then bringing the knight out, okay, knight C4, rook F1, they went all the, what? Huh? Excuse-moi. Okay, I understand. Okay, I was like, what is this? The knight is just putting itself in a place where it can be captured. It can't be captured, but the thing that's going on is that after captures, there is pawn captures, and then this knight is hanging, and after this knight moves somewhere, then our dear knight on c4 is hanging by this nasty bishop all the way on g8, pointing down towards this, and I didn't realize that. So that's why, wow, that is a beautiful move. So knight d4 works because of that, and therefore king b2 was played, I guess with the idea of maybe going queen c1. Oh, I guess also, yeah, I'm not sure. And now the knight moved to b5, and this is the current position right now for Alireza Firouzja. Wow, okay, that was a really cool move. We're gonna move on to Hikaru's game really quickly, also to see how he's doing, and then we're gonna be moving on to the main knockout stage. So let me just put this up so you can see it. So yesterday, these two fantastic players drew, Hikaru Nakamura and the current World Chess Champion Gukesh. They drew. Let's see how Gukesh started this game. So instead of e4 in this game, we saw f4, f5, c3, b3. He immediately opened up this bishop. Look at that. And then we saw it takes, e4 just to activate the rook, just like in the other game. The knight went to e3, takes, queen c2, and now a4, knight f7, getting the knight out, and d5. And this is the current position that they have right now. And I quite like this for Gukesh because I feel like he's going to be able to go b4. He's going to get a lot of nice space. I feel like he can also maybe go d4 at some point, get this knight out. Like, I quite like this for Gukesh. Imagine if you go like b4, queen c7, and then d4, and then you're able to get this knight around, and you're going to get this fantastic square for the knight. I know Levon Aronian was talking a lot yesterday about me and Alex's positional play, but I feel like I'm coming up with pretty good positional ideas right now, Levon. I was rewatching the stream after because I wanted to hear Levon roasting me. I was really excited because, yeah, so last night when I was, right before going to sleep, I was like, hey, let me listen to all the stuff that Levon was saying about me. And so I re-listened to the broadcast, and it was so funny to hear Levon roast me and Alex. I also got some compliments, which made me very happy. But we definitely had our good moments and our bad moments in our match yesterday. But I wasn't expecting to get as stressed as I did. Like, sitting in the playing hall, I was sitting in the seat of Magnus Carlsen today, sitting there, saying our names, having literally people sitting around us watching, recording. I was like, this is how the players feel when they're competing. We may not have $200,000 on the line. We may just have our pride and honor. But, I wasn't expecting that to happen. So it was honestly really cool. I really enjoyed it. And I especially enjoyed beating Alexandra Bottas. That was the highlight of my trip. Yeah. That was the highlight. Okay, I'm just going to open up my bottle of water, and we are going to drink some of it. I saw all of you supporting me yesterday. I appreciated it. It was a lot of fun. Okay, there we go. There we have my water. Was it not 50 subs on the line? Well, we did talk about the fact that we were going to have some subs on the line. I haven't gotten any subs yet, but I don't know how that's going to work. But I'm sure we'll figure it out. Yeah, it's, yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, so we're gonna be tuning in to the Magnus Carlsen game as soon as the main broadcast does that. I am following the main broadcast because I want to be able to have all the player cams. So, yeah, we're gonna be just following that. So for now, we're gonna stay in the Gukesh game, but as soon as they change, we are going to be changing as well. So, chat, what do you think will happen? Do you think Gukesh or Hikaru will win? What do you think the score of this game will be? Or do you think it's going to be a draw? What do you think? We're also going to have a cold plunge. Yeah, so I'm going to force Alex to stay 4 minutes in ice cold water. Exactly. Yeah, what do you think will be the result of this game? Chat, I had a really funny thing happen before when I walked into the playing hall. And I was going to film a short, which is when you try to take a selfie or when you know, try to get a really cool selfie, and I was like posing for a selfie in front of Gukesh, and then all of a sudden Gukesh just turns around and looks straight into the camera, and I was like, oh no! And I panicked, and it turned out really funny. It was right before the games. But Gukesh just like literally moved around and just turned, like, straight looked into the camera, and he was sitting like this, and I was like, oh, this is an interesting selfie. So then I felt bad because I felt like I was disturbing, so I ran away. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Okay, D4 was the move that Gukesh played, and this is the move that we were kind of expecting, D4, with the ideas later of going B4 as well. And let's see how Hikaru reacts to that move. Look at that. I always like to see Hikaru's reactions because he's very expressive with his face, and he always says exactly what he thinks. So he immediately makes a move. No, he changes his mind. Okay. He changes his mind. Is he going to do the move that he wanted to do? We'll see. I also saw that Levon was today in the commentary booth. You know, people loved Levon's commentary. I thought it was really fun and amazing. So I saw that Levon was before today in the commentary booth as well, and we all wondered if maybe Levon in a different life would have become a chess commentator instead of a chess player, because he was really funny. But yeah, but now we only have Levy and Tanya over there right now, and David and James Dash. Or James, I guess, yeah, Dash. So, yeah, really fun. We're gonna wait and see what Hikaru ends up doing. It is really cool to see Vincent Keymer doing so well in this tournament. Like, okay, there's someone, like, looking right into... okay, there's someone looking right into my booth. I'm just gonna, like, drink my water. It is really cool to see how extremely well Vincent Keymer is doing, especially this being in his home country and him just being 20 years old. It's amazing to see it. So, yeah, all right. Will he go B4? Will he go D4? He did go D4. Will he go B4 now? Let's see what Hikaru does. Gukesh doing just like me, drinking some water, probably not sparkling water, because for some reason most people hate sparkling water and I don't understand why. But what can Hikaru do here? I mean, I feel like Hikaru needs to, like, bring out his knight. I think that if we want to go for B4 and D4, speaking like Levon yesterday, there's squares that get weak when we move our pawns up. And if we put this pawn over here, the square that is going to get weak is this one, because no pawn will ever be able to attack or defend the square. That means that if a knight installs themselves over here, this knight will just be absolutely fantastic and it will not be able to be traded off. So I think that that's going to be an idea, and maybe we'll see knight d6 because of that by Hikaru, so that he can start preparing some good knight c4. I think that can make a lot of sense. Another idea is to play something like bishop h6, because then this knight gets pinned. Maybe a mix of knight d6, bishop h6, just to pin this knight and get a knight to c4. I think that is really awesome. Another idea is to go queen c7 immediately, because then you're stopping b4. Maybe queen d8 as well, with the same idea of stopping b4. But I think queen c7 makes more sense in case you want a castle. So I quite like that as well. Sparkling water is actually amazing. It's like, why drink regular water when you can drink fun water? Sparkling water is fun water. It is that I want to drink something that's not water for dinner, but I also want to be healthy and drink water. Okay, we're gonna check out now the game of the year, the game of the moment, the game of everything. We have right now Vincent Keymer versus Magnus Carlsen, the prodigy, the 20-year-old German that defeated Magnus Carlsen yesterday, and maybe he will be able to do it today as well. This is just an amazing position. We're going to check it out from Vincent's position point of view. Or are we? I kind of want to, because I think it's quite cool. There we see him, by the way. This is the 20-year-old Vincent Keymer. Look at him. He looks calm, but I bet he's not calm, knowing that he could be going to the finals very soon if he's just able to win this game or draw it. Vincent Keymer is also one of the people that I played the other day, so I'm going to be posting that interview very soon. But today, everybody, I am posting my game and interview with the one and only Hikaru Nakamura. So today, this evening, you're going to be seeing me on YouTube with the new Hikaru video, and I'm very, very excited about that. As you all know, I literally did interviews and games with all the players here, so we're posting them every other day, and it's going to be so fun to show you my interview with Hikaru. So let's see how this game has unfolded. In here, we have Magnus Carlsen. He started with F4, and it was really interesting because today, most people were sitting, you know, by the tables with all the other players and discussing what is the best first move. But Magnus Carlsen and Gukesh were the only two people that were sitting by themselves. Magnus Carlsen was coming up with his plans by himself. He wasn't sitting by the table with all the other players. So we can see that everybody has different styles. Magnus Carlsen, very low on time right now, only 35 minutes. But anyways, F4, F5, and then the game turned out like this. We saw an early C5 by Vincent, which is, woohoo! We got a sub! Thank you so much, Ulan, for gifting Charlotte. Thank you so much, Ulan, for gifting Charlotte a sub. Thank you. And Ulan, thank you so much for gifting a sub to Liv Harris as well. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That is amazing. Okay, so, we saw an early c5 by Vincent Keymer, which maybe looks a bit scary because you say, oh, why are we pushing the pawn in front of the king? But the reason we're doing that is because the center in chess is everything, and we want to attack the center. And not only will this king get weak, but this king will get weak too. Maybe after something like queen c7, knight up, knight somewhere, and then castles, actually, it can become really easy to start attacking this king. So g3 was played instead. And now, wow, he played this fantastic move, e5, getting space and opening up this file for the rook. We all know, as the good chess players that we are, that rooks want to be in semi-open files. And that means a file that is not blocked by a bunch of pawns, because then the rook becomes a very useless piece. And we like our pieces to be useful, because the rook needs to move around. The rook is like a dog, you know? A dog needs to go outside, needs to go walking every day for several hours. The rook needs some walking too. And this is creating a path for the rook to walk. So, after e5, we saw f takes e5, trades, queen d3, and then knight c6. So the knight got out, now threatening this bishop. Also, being able to get the knight out, developing it, but more importantly, going here, because this square is probably going to be the square that we want to bring our other knight to. So it's important to not just go somewhere and get excited, but say, okay, we need to coordinate everything. This one will go here, this one will go here. So it makes sense that he went knight c6, now bishop c5. Here, Vincent just didn't care about the fact that this bishop got up to this diagonal. It was unimportant for him. Instead, he played this move f4. And the idea is very simple. The idea is that if takes, he's going to go bishop takes f4. He's going to check this king. And after the king moves somewhere, he's going to bring his queen. And just look at how many pieces are active. This king is going to castle. This pawn is weak. This pawn is weak. White has now 3 pawn islands, which, okay, black has 2, but these pawns are just so weak that if now, for instance, Vincent was able to win this pawn, every endgame would be winning for Vincent because he would have 2 passed pawns connected, which is something that you may not think about, but this is the way grandmasters think. They think, okay, how does my position look now, and how is it gonna help me in the future? And if you just win this pawn, you know that if you trade off the pieces, you're winning. Chess is as simple as that. So, f4, fantastic move. Knight f2 was played by Magnus, and here, Vincent played the move queen c7, I guess with the idea of castling. So the last move Magnus just did was g takes f4, this is the current position. And now there's 2 ideas for Vincent. He can either take this pawn, which looks very logical because you're taking it with check and you're recapturing the pawn. And actually, I don't know if he's made a move yet. We're seeing them over there. But the other thing that he can do is that he can go knight e6 and do an intermezzo which is a move that is an intermediate move. It's a fancy word for intermediate move, where we're both threatening this pawn, but we're also threatening this bishop. And now if the bishop moves, we get to take here with the knight instead and trade off some more pieces, perhaps. And if you take our bishop, then we're going to take this bishop, threaten the queen, and then after that, we're going to be picking this up as well and get this position. And this could maybe be better for Vincent. So he needs to make a decision. Does he want to take immediately, or does he want to bring out the knight and threaten this bishop? That is what he needs to think. So this is now an important moment for him, but luckily for him, he has double the time than the world's best chess player, Magnus Carlsen. So he has plenty of time to chill and think about this decision. Should he go here? Should he go here? I wonder what Magnus is thinking about right now. But Magnus is in a must-win position, and I don't think he's happy about that, because this game doesn't look like it's going the way that Magnus would want it to go. Thank you so much, Nurse Peel and Fighter. Thank you so much for resubscribing. 2 months. Thank you, thank you. We see Magnus Carlsen drinking some of my sparkling water as well. It is a great sparkling water. Yeah, but he's pouring it into a cup instead of drinking it from the bottle as I am. It would be kind of cool to see the players drinking it from the bottle, but I guess that would look a bit bad. So they're drinking it from cups. So, yeah. Oh, sorry, the names are in the wrong places. I'm sorry, it's not me putting the names. This is the current position. I'm really, really, really sorry about that, chat. I'm tricking you. I'm tricking you. It's Vincent Keymer with the fantastic position. And this is now, we're seeing it. Yeah, we're seeing it now from the other point of view. I am very sorry. It's, I just tricked you. I just tricked you. This was me trying to troll you, and I achieved it. I trolled hundreds of people. I'm happy about that. Anyways, now I'm gonna stop trolling you. Tichenenko, thank you for subscribing 11 months. And Zazitro, thank you so much for the prime. So yeah, now we gotta look at this from Magnus' point of view. That's kind of strange. It was more fun looking at it from Keymer's point of view. But let's look at it from Magnus' point of view. Yeah, so this is now the current position, and this is where we have the question: will Vincent take on f4, or will he go knight e6? And if I am gonna guess, I mean, the fact that he's not taking immediately means that he's analyzing knight e6, obviously, because otherwise he would just recapture it immediately. So I'm sure that he's considering this. He's about to make a move. No, he just moved his hair. But look, it's like, look at that. His face is saying, oh, one of the two. Which one do I go for? It's almost like you go for a coin flip. No, you don't go for a coin flip. You don't go for a coin flip, but still. Speaking of chat, I got to learn yesterday that there's world championships in rock, paper, scissors. And I got very intrigued about this. I wonder, because for me, rock, paper, scissors is almost the same as a coin flip. So that's why I started thinking about this. But yeah, it's almost like you could rock, paper, scissors, which one of these moves to go for, knight e6 or bishop takes f4. Yeah, but anyways, we will see which one he goes for. Also, I love Vincent's blazer so much. Like, I really want to get a blazer. I have been telling production that I want Pringles. I'm going to see if I just say anything that I want, if I'm going to get it. This is a little bit of a test. I would literally love production for the rest of my life if they brought me a yellow velvet blazer. Like, I'm not kidding you, that would be the coolest thing ever. If I got a yellow velvet blazer like the one Vincent has, it would literally be a dream come true, and I would love production like from the bottom of my heart. And okay, sorry, I just really want that velvet blazer. It looks so good. It looks so good. I mean, we should ask for things, not over here. It worked the first time. I said I wanted chocolate. Listen, I got a big mug of chocolate. I said I wanted paprika Pringles. They ordered paprika Pringles for me. Maybe I can order a yellow velvet blazer too, you know? And by the way, production, if it would be the case that I got it extra small is my size. Okay, doesn't matter. 96 is on the board, everybody. 96 is on the board by Vincent Keymer. And he is going for the intermezzo move that I was talking about. He's threatening the bishop. He's threatening the pawn. And Magnus Carlsen now has to make the question, should he move the bishop back or should he take Vincent Keymer's bishop himself? This is a decision that he has to make with the 32 minutes he has left, which is not a lot of time because there's no extra time after a certain amount of moves. The only thing he has is 32 minutes, 30 seconds per move, and a dream of not getting knocked out right now in this game from the finals of this tournament. So those are the three things that Magnus Carlsen has. And he has to make a choice. So, okay, let's say that he would take the bishop, okay? Magnus Carlsen takes Vincent's bishop. Well, then obviously Vincent has to take Magnus's bishop as well. Actually, he already made a decision. He didn't have to think about this so long. And he decided to go bishop a3. So he pretty quickly said, okay, I'm not going to take Vincent's bishop. But look at this. Now Vincent got this move for free. This poor little knight that was back in jail, not moving out, now is out, and he got this move for free. This is literally like getting a free candy. Sorry, that was not a move. Okay, so bishop a3. So he got this move out for free. This is already a win for Vincent. A small win, you know, obviously not a win, but a small win. And so now he gets to capture this pawn with the knight. And this is just amazing. Like, look at this. This is actually incredible. He has a knight on f4, which is threatening the queen. He has a bishop defending it. He has this knight out. He has developed almost every single piece. The only piece he hasn't developed is his king because it hasn't castled, and this bishop. But this bishop is the most useful undeveloped piece ever because it's sniping down the whole position. It's literally looking all the way towards a2, and this bishop could become extremely dangerous. And this bishop, okay, looks great because it's on this big diagonal, but it's actually a bit of a clumsy bishop. It can't really go to a lot of places. You know, it can't go here. It can't go here. It can't go here. It can't go here. It can only go here, and then we're just going to kick it away. So actually, this bishop is one of those things that I think looks prettier than what it actually does any good. So don't love any of Magnus's pieces. Magnus does have this good bishop as well over here. He does have a knight that has the potential of going to e4 and maybe to d6. So this actually could become a good thing for him. Honestly, I think this is the best plan he has. Go knight e4, then knight e3, knight c4, and then bring the other knight up. I think these are some of the best plans. But he decides to go queen c2 instead. First, obviously, because the knight was threatening the queen. Thank you so much, Phoebe, for the raid. Thank you. We are right now in Weissenhaus commentating freestyle chess, and it is very exciting. We are in the semifinals right now, and we are going to see if Magnus Carlsen gets knocked out from the finals as Vincent Keymer is at this moment in time beating him in this match. So we're going to see. It's very exciting. Thank you for the raid. Thank you also for gifting Phoebe a sub. I appreciate it. So, yeah, someone in chat is saying, Magnus, can he pull out a rabbit out of a hat? And that is what he has to do this game to be able to stay in this tournament. So, queen c2, and now Vincent can honestly just castle. He can castle. Why? Because there's no pawn that is, no bishop that is right now threatening this pawn, and this is defended. The difference here is that if we would see, for instance, Magnus Carlsen castle, then this bishop over here on g8 is just going to be able to capture this pawn on a2. And you might say, Anna, this is like the Fisher trap. There's b3. But actually, this is not like the Fisher trap because you could actually sacrifice the bishop and then go for this move, knight a5. And because you're getting 3 pawns, as we can see, you're gonna get this pawn, you're gonna get this b3 pawn, and now you can choose. You can say, okay, maybe I want the c3 pawn, or you can just get this knight to the absolute greatest square ever on c4, and after this bishop moves, you can go rook e6, and even if now Magnus would be a piece up, well, Vincent would have 2 pawns for the piece, this king is just so weak, this pawn is just so weak, everything is so weak that this would actually be a winning position for Vincent Keymer. Which maybe not for most of us would be, but at this level, he would probably be able to get a win from that. So, Magnus is in the very sad position that he cannot queenside castle. It's very sad. It's very sad. He can't queenside castle, so this rook must stay here. But there's always an issue if a rook, which is worth 5 points, has to stay in the defense of a piece that's only worth 1 point. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do the worst analogy ever, but okay. Let me put it this way. It's as if a dog. It's as if Wait, no. Wait. Wait, no, this analogy doesn't work. This analogy doesn't work. I actually don't really know exactly how I'm gonna continue this. I was gonna say, as a dog that instead of like playing with another dog has to play with a rock. You know, the rock could be hanging out with a piece worthy of itself, but instead he's just kind of hanging out with this pawn that is just not really worth anything. Are you trying to see what I'm trying to say? Does this make any sense? I hope it does. The point is, the rook is worth a better life than this right now. And so that's why the rook would have a better life over here on d1 in a semi-open file where, you know, it can go running around and do lots of cool things. But then unfortunately, this pawn would be taken by the bishop on g8. So now it's time for Vincent to decide how does he continue this. I like queenside castles, but obviously you can also think about more direct things, like what happens if we threaten this knight. Let's go queen b6 and attack this knight. Okay, where does the knight go? These are all things that we have to do. If you would know the 3 rules of how to calculate a position in chess, you would know this. You have to always look at every single check, capture, and attack, and this would count as an attack. So this is something that Vincent is calculating. What happens if I simply attack the knight? Where does it go? Okay, maybe the knight goes to e4. Wow, great square for the knight. But then the question is, wait a second, what is the best square for this knight, for instance? Because we see that this knight is really good over here. We see that this bishop is good over here. This rook is good over here. This bishop is good over here. So this queen is good over here, but maybe this knight has no future right now. Okay, this knight can go to a5. And from here, it can go to c4. And from c4, it can attack this bishop that I said was looking kind of clumsy because the bishop can't really go anywhere. So here, okay, let's say you would go b3 just to stop this. Well, actually, this would be a disaster because you have bishop takes b3. You can sacrifice your bishop for the pawn. And after the pawn takes back, you can go knight takes b3. And where does the king go? It has to go here. And this would just not be a good position for Magnus Carlsen because not only would he be material down, but this king would just be so weak that it would be a very sad position for him. So yeah, so, you know, he must analyze all of this. Okay, what happens if he goes knight a5 immediately? Maybe he doesn't need to go queen b6. Maybe he can go knight a5 and then go knight c4 and place a knight over here and threaten the bishop. Threaten the clumsy bishop. I'm going to call it the clumsy bishop. Threaten the clumsy bishop. Put a little pressure here on b2. These are all because also, like, the thing is this, that let's say, I don't even know what you're going to do, but let's say knight c4. Let's say, you know, you don't do anything. Okay, then we take on a3, obviously. But let's say this bishop moves somewhere. Maybe not there. But, like, what I'm trying to say is that there's... Okay, actually, I'm not really sure exactly how I'm trying to say. But the point is that this pawn can also get weak. That is what I'm trying to say over here. But, you know, something like this would just be a complete disaster because this pawn gets so weak and, you know, it's this rook is hanging. Like, let's say the rook goes to b1. We can even go bishop d5, and if we take over here, look at all these dark squares that the knight can jump to. Like, this is almost resignable for Magnus Carlsen. So things can go south very quickly. That's why I think that he might be analyzing, okay, what happens if knight a5? Because castles is really good, but it's giving him a little bit more of a tempo, whereas here, knight a5 just instantly is the maybe more push move. Anyways, let's check out how it's going for Fabiano. I was talking about the Magnus Carlsen versus Vincent Keymer game, but now we have Fabiano over here. So this is now Fabiano Caruana. He's facing Gukesh Sindarov, which, by the way, I just posted a video with Gukesh Sindarov, and I'm gonna spoil it for you. I didn't lose that game. I played a 3+2 no odds game versus Gukesh Sindarov, one of the top chess players in the world, and I didn't lose that game, and it is one of the most proud moments of my life. So I just want to say this. I am very proud of that moment, and I'm literally gonna bring this with me for the rest of my life. It's honestly like the first time I do such a good result with no odds or no anything. Because I have beaten Fabiano Caruana, but then he was playing the cow opening. But here, there was nothing. It was just a completely regular game. 3+2, and I did not lose against Gukesh Sindarov. So I'm incredibly proud of that performance. Gukesh, you know what Gukesh said, chat? He was awesome. Like, he was really funny. He was really, like, expressive. It was so easy to talk to him. Gukesh said that my over-the-board blitz rating was 2,300. And it made my soul happy. He said that I played that game against him, like, for sure as a 2300. And to me, that was like, I was really proud. It meant a lot to me, okay? It meant a lot to me to have such a strong player say that to me. So I am really, 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 really happy about that. So yeah, I'm bringing that for the rest of my life. I'm just gonna tell you that. I'm gonna say that to my parents. I'm gonna say that to everyone. Hi, by the way, did you know that Javakir Sindarov thinks I should be 23? You know, I'm gonna say that to everyone. So yeah. Anyways, but it was a lot of fun. So we haven't checked out this game so far. This is Fabiana Caruana versus Javakir Sindarov. And Fabiana Caruana with 17 minutes left. What is happening over here? Wait a second. I didn't realize this. Why does he have 17 minutes? Okay. Anyways, F4 was also played over here on this game to open up for this bishop. C3, G3. This is very similar to what we saw in other games as well. Bishop E3. Now he took back with the bishop. The knight moved out to F7. The bishop retreated. Queen C2. Knight F2. Very similar ideas to what we saw in other games. Long castles. Takes. Queen C7. Queen A4 to get the queen out. B5. And now Queen A3. And this is the current position. Now, there's nothing wrong with Fabiano's position, but he has almost an hour less than Javakir. And if he loses this game, bye-bye Fabi for the finals. Then he's out of the finals. So that would be huge. Like, if we see the finals being between Javakir Sindarov and Vincent Keymer, that's going to be a huge surprise because, you know, we have here Fabiana Caruana, who's the current number 2 or 3 in the world, and Javakir Sindarov, like, you know, he might be defeating him, and then we have Vincent Keymer defeating Magnus Carlsen. The big boys are being defeated by the youngsters, by the kids, in the way that Magnus always calls them. So that would be just incredible to see. So we're gonna see very soon what happens, but I'm very worried about Fabiano's time. These 15 minutes, he's gonna not be able to walk around anymore. I mean, he might not even be able to go to the toilet anymore the rest of this game, which, let me tell you, is honestly pretty horrible. As a person that always gets low on time myself, I know the feeling of having little time very quickly and not being able to go to the bathroom for the rest of the game, and you just want to finish the game because you want to be able to go to the bathroom. Like, it's a really bad feeling, and this, yeah, I'm not sure this is gonna happen to Bobby, but I'm just saying that, like, there's a lot of things going on here. Anyway, Scottish chess fan, thank you so much for resubscribing 2 months on Prime. Thank you. I'm just saying that this is honestly a thing that is worth talking about. They would never talk about the situation in the official broadcast, but that is why we have unofficial broadcasts such as mine where we can discuss anything. So yeah, anyways. What can he do? What can Fabi do? I mean, here, like, Fabi could queenside castle, but then it's also like, wait, do I really want a queenside castle? Because if I queenside castle, it's almost like, say, maybe my beautiful little box in front of the king would be better on b7. So that is, like, one thing to consider. But are you not going to queenside castle? This king feels way too far away to castle over here. So maybe what you do is just that you bring out your knight and you try to maybe place the knight on c5. I like that. I like the idea of going something like queen b6. No, you know, I know what I like. Okay, here, I like the idea of going bishop f8. And now dominating the dark squares. This I like. I mean, not that he's going to go h4. Like, probably here maybe we would see something like d4, I think makes a lot of sense. But I like this idea of going bishop f8 and dominating this diagonal. I really like that. So that is pretty cool. We also have, yeah, I mean, b5, queen a3. No, he hasn't played a move yet. So knight here I like because of that. He could also just simply go something like king d8, which looks a little bit strange. But nah, this looks too strange. Honestly, this looks too strange. I don't even know why you would go king d8. Okay. No, I mean, I guess the idea would be to keep the king a little bit more safe because it's more safe in the middle, and then just play over here. Like, go a5 before. I wonder if he even can go a5 right now. Like, maybe this is complete. Oh, what? Huh? I didn't even know that. Right now, if Fabi does something random like a5, this actually loses on the spot. due to knight d5. I didn't even realize this. This is a beautiful move because you're threatening the queen and you're threatening the rook right now. And the issue is, the really big, enormous issue is that now if you move the queen, you're going to take over here. And after takes, there's this nasty check on b6 and you end up losing the rook. So this is an enormous issue. So Fabi must stop knight d5. That's why king d8 is also a possibility to defend the rook. Wow, and knight e6 is also a possibility, stopping the rook on this file. But Fabi has 12 minutes on the clock, and he's officially almost an hour down from Javok here. Like, this is completely crazy. An hour less. Completely insane. And I was hearing that actually a lot of the players that, yeah, I mean, like, it seemed as if the people with the black pieces today weren't really happy with the, like, 960 position that they got, because, yeah, it seemed like maybe it could be slightly favorable for white, but we're also seeing Vincent Keymer just, you know, completely crushing it with the black pieces. So, yeah, it's just not gone so well for Fabi, it seems like, because this clock issue, it's an enormous issue. Like, it's really big. So, yeah, this is starting to get serious trouble. Very serious trouble. F Dance, thank you so much for resubscribing 18 months. I really appreciate all of you resubscribing and enjoying the broadcast. Thank you so much. So why doesn't black castle? Well, you can castle, but then it's also like, you know, look at this king and look at this one. Like, let's be honest, if you were a king, which king would you rather be? This king is happy in a box. This king is tucked between cozy blankets and chilling and by a fireplace, just relaxing, drinking a cup of peppermint tea. And what is this king? This king is doing that, but has a big window open and a lot of cold is coming in. And this cold is not cold that you would want to have. So it's like admitting that you've opened up a window a little bit too early maybe, or it's just going for it. So yeah, let's see. Look at the heart rates as well, by the way. Caruana is in 100. Sindarov is in 110. Sindarov's heart rate is spiking, maybe because he's realizing that for every second that goes, Fabi has a second less on the clock, which means that he's 1 second closer to winning. So I think all of these things are right now coming into mind. But yeah, this is amazing. Someone is asking, Anna, where are your lays? Like, where are the other chips? I gave those to Sagar from Chess-Based India because he didn't have any chips and he really wanted chips. And I thought, you know what? I have 3 bottles of Pringles. Like, they're treating me with chips. Let me treat Chess-Based India with a bit of chips too. So I gave them a little bit of chips because I think that sharing is caring. And I have a lot to share. I've, for instance, never in my life eaten Nutella and Go. And I've never tried it. We could do a taste test because I'm very curious. I actually haven't had Nutella in years. I'm not a Nutella kind of girl. I'm more of a peanut butter girl or cream cheese girl, but not a Nutella girl. But yeah, we could do a taste test over there. But yeah, okay. There we go. We have King D8 by Fabiano Caruana. And that was the move that he ended up doing. Let's go back to the Magnus Carlsen Vincent Keymer game. Here it is. And here we also have a time situation where it's looking a lot more grim for Magnus. But Magnus finding some good moves. So let's see, where did it all go? So when we left, this was the moment when I said, okay, is Vincent gonna castle? Or is he gonna go something like knight a5? And Vincent ended up going knight a5. So knight d2 was played by Magnus, and then Vincent went knight d5. And I suppose that is to open up for those bishops, so that the bishop can go up to this diagonal. Knight d2 was obviously to prevent knight c4, because like I told you, this knight would be a beautiful piece over here. So then Magnus found this amazing exclamation mark move, knight g4, and this is just a fantastic move, because you're threatening this bishop, and where does the bishop go? And now I think the idea is that, let's say the bishop would go back, now you could maybe castle, because if bishop a2 is not possible as the knight is blocking. So this could be a good spot for Magnus Carlsen to castle and get his king onto safety. With this move, you're also the, well, I guess, I mean, can you take this pawn? Like, what happens if you would take this pawn? What if I am very greedy? Then we take, and then there is the move knight f6, and this could lead to some trouble actually, because all of a sudden you're starting to trade off a lot of stuff. And okay, yeah, we're gonna see what Vincent ends up doing. There's a lot of different options, but most probably he'll keep the bishop, or he'll just simply queenside castle to develop the last piece, and then after knight takes, go something like rook takes and just attack this pawn, and then go with the second rook. I really like this for Vincent actually. Like, you just double up the rooks. This bishop is funny. You know, you attack this pawn. Like, I really like this, honestly. Maybe he'll queenside castle. Yeah. By the way, chat, I'm having like the greatest breakfast every day. I'm eating pancakes every day, and I'm eating pancakes with like the greatest fruit, because, you know, I am a person that I get very lazy at home. Like, I'm really lazy in the sense that I'm really, like, it's really strange because I could record videos for 10 hours, but cutting up an orange is too hard for me. I don't know if anyone can relate. Like, I can do things that for most people would be more difficult, but, you know, if it's something that I find really boring, I just, for some reason, it's such a huge mental block. So cutting up oranges, like, I never cut up my oranges, right? And so here we're getting so treated because all the fruit is cut up, and you guys don't know how happy that makes me. Every morning there's fresh oranges that are cut up, there's fresh kiwi cut up, there's fresh pineapple cut up, like all these fruits that I would never cut up myself, they're cut up over here, and it's just fantastic. So yeah, it's I don't know if this is normal, but I've always had this. And I know my mom has the same thing. My mom is really funny because I'll tell her, I'll be like, Mom, it's so impressive that you can study chess for 10 hours straight. And she's like, well, anyone can. And I was like, but Mom, you can study chess for 10 hours straight, but doing the dishes you find really hard. And she's like, yeah, but chess is fun. Dishes are boring. And I was like, yeah, but how do you hyper focus on chess for 10 hours straight? And my mom doesn't understand, like, what a superpower that is. So I've always found that really funny. So it does kind of go in the family, I think. It does go in the family. So yeah, that's that. But what I want to say is that it makes me very, very, very happy. Yeah, I know a lot of people in chat are saying, "Oh, Anna, it's ADHD." I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's me, but it is the way it is. But yeah, I don't know what it is. All right, so let's continue. Bishop G7 was played by Vincent Keymer. I'm gonna open up this Nutella thing. Here we have, once again, Fabiano Caruana and Gukesh Sindarov. And now we have, yes, this is what I was talking about. The issue is when grandmasters play the moves that I want to play. That is always a mistake by people, and me and Fabi are connecting our minds together, but that's not a positive thing for Fabi. I wanted to go king d8 to start a queenside attack, but the engine does not like that. And look at Fabi's face. He's almost saying, man, like, this is hard. Look at that. His time is not ticking, but he only has 10 minutes left. And it is just... yeah, it is just not looking great for him right now. So he did go a5 because he wants to create some kind of attack, I suppose, on the king. But now there's this move, knight d6, and this move threatens the rook. But not only does it threaten the rook, the question is, where does the rook go? Let's say the rook would go to e6, because truthfully, the rook doesn't have a lot of places to go to. If you go rook a7, bam, you have knight d5, and now this is a disaster. You're threatening the queen, you're threatening the rook, but you're threatening it with 2 pieces. So now, if the bishop would end up taking on d5, ladies and gentlemen, the issue here would be the following. That you could take, and after king takes, there's knight takes b5 check, and then you lose the queen. So this is a really beautiful line. So after knight d6, where does the rook go? It cannot go to e7 because you lose everything. So it has to go to e6. That is the only move. But then there is this move, knight takes b5, which I'm not sure if Fabiano just missed. I'm not sure if Fabiano just missed this move, because this is just, he's losing a pawn. Wait a second. But he doesn't do it! Gukesh Sindarov misses the winning move, knight d6, threatening the rook, threatening to take on b5. He goes knight g4 to go knight f6. And now it is not so clear what is about to happen. Wow, this is a fantastic moment for Javakir to go knight d6, and he has an hour on the clock. He should use that time. But maybe Javakir is doing the mistake that is so human and easy to do, which is when you see your opponent being under pressure, you want to put them under more pressure and you want to do it quickly. But this is the moment where he should just put pressure on Fabi by making the best moves and not by playing fast. Because Fabi would love right now if Javakir didn't play his best just to pressure Fabi on the clock. You know, the players are good enough to be able to play moves with little time. And this was a critical moment for Javakir to really use his 1 hour on the clock. He could spend 20 minutes. Doesn't matter, but that was a critical moment for him to go for that. So very human, very understandable, but unfortunately, maybe a move that he will regret later on, because knight d6, I just don't understand what he was going to do. Maybe after knight d6, could he have been worried about something like b4? No, but you just take the rook and you're threatening the queen. I don't understand. I don't understand. No, you cannot do that. So what was he afraid of with knight d6? Threatening the rook, and it's just knight takes b5. It's just hanging. It's hanging. You cannot take it back. The queen would have to go to b8, and now after knight d4, you're just a pawn up, and it's just not good for you. So knight g4, and now Fabi finds the best move, b4, and the game is now turning tides. Fabi with a better position now, because Fabi has been able to do everything that he wanted to do, and now the idea is that these two bishops are going to be sniping down Javakir's king. Like, these two bishops are fun. They're phenomenal. I love the word phenomenal, by the way. They are phenomenal. Why are they phenomenal? Because they are looking from afar. They're like, it's like they have binoculars, you know? And they're like looking like very, you know, very closely. And so these bishops are just targeting the king. And by going b4, Fabiano is sacrificing a pawn, but he's doing so to open up the path for his bishops to attack the king. So this pawn is now gone, which means that this bishop has a better diagonal. And now, after the pawn would take on b4, which makes all the sense in the world, you can go rook b8, threatening this pawn. And if you take now, GG's, the pawn on b2 is hanging. You're losing the queen. So, you know, this doesn't work. So here, maybe we'd have to see something like knight f6. And, you know, this is obviously completely fine, but this would become a very messy game where we would even see maybe some form of exchange sacrifice to bring up the bishop. But the main thing here is the time situation. Fabi with very little time, but I now believe in Fabi a million times more than I did before. We're going to check out the Vincent Keymer versus Magnus Carlsen game, see how this is looking. So what we saw was knight g4, the bishop did go to g7, and then Magnus Carlsen finally castled, and we saw that he could do this because of the fact that this bishop is now blocked by its own knight, and so the pawn on a2 is not hanging anymore. So, what will Vincent Keymer come up with right now? What is he gonna do? And Magnus is looking at the other position. He's trying to figure out what is going on. There's a TV next to the players, and he's right now just trying to figure out what is happening on the other board. So, you know, Vincent has a few different things he can do, but this square on c4, the square, the beautiful square that I was talking about before, there's a path for this. And in chess, you should always be looking at paths, because your pieces, they are, yeah, they're pieces that have to be put on the best squares possible, but to do that, you have to be finding the best paths for these pieces. And so, you know, a great path to go to c4 would be to go knight here and then knight there, because the knight can't really go here. So bam, bam. This would be a great way. And this knight on c4 would be supported by a knight over here, by a bishop over here, by a queen over here. This knight over here would do a lot more damage to Magnus Carlsen than what the knight is doing here, because the knight over here would be threatening the clumsy bishop, the bishop that I've been calling clumsy throughout this whole game. So I quite like that idea. Maybe even you want to go knight here, and then maybe even want to bring this knight instead, so that if bishop b4, there's a5, maybe that's better. But knight b6 I really like, or we will just see finally castles by Vincent as well. One time or another he should castle, but maybe he wants to go with this idea, because then if you don't do anything and you're able to go knight over here, now bishop there doesn't work due to a5. So maybe you want to keep the rook over there for a little bit extra. Yeah, so it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens over here. There's also, we gotta remind that there's more games going on. These are the games that can take people to the finals, but there's also players competing right now for the 5th to 8th place, because there's a lot of money on the line. And here we have, for instance, Ali Reza Firusha. Look at that cool video that they made of him. Really cool. I'm loving the production. Look at that really cool video. And then he's facing today Noterback, who is 6th in the world. There we go, Noterback Abdusattarov. He's facing him right now, and this is for the 5th to 8th place. We're going to take a quick look on those games as well before we continue with the semi-final games, just to see how are these people doing. But yeah, there we go. So we have Noterback. He is right now, wow, what a crazy position that we have at the same time. So Firusha with the white pieces, we can just quickly take a look to see how this happened. Yeah, Firusha just fiercely took like all the space over here. Yeah, look at that. He took all the space over there. We saw this move, knight d4, which I thought was so beautiful. Then f4 was played by Firusha, which was the best move. Queen d3, castles. f5, bishop here. And I feel like they've played so many moves. They've played 17 moves, so they're like a little bit further ahead. I quite like this actually for white, because this pawn is going to forever be a backwards pawn, which means that it's a pawn that is behind and has no friends defending it. So I quite like the fact that this rook is just simply threatening over there. We also have Hikaru right now playing against the one and only current world chess champion Gukesh. And Gukesh, this is the position that they have right now. Gukesh with the white pieces, and the last few moves that have happened, I think the last move we saw was d4, and then knight d6 was played. The knight went out. Bishop h6, queen d3, bishop e6, castles, knight d7, and b4. This was the move that we were waiting for, threatening the queen. The queen went back to c7, and now this move g4, which is a really nice move, honestly. It's a really nice move, which is, I feel like a GM move. Like, it's the kind of move that I just wouldn't really understand myself. Maybe the idea is to go h4 and g5 and kind of block over here. Maybe be able to bring a knight up. Maybe also be able to eliminate all of Hikaru's pieces from the f5 square. Bishop f4 was played then. Bishop g3. I hate when I make a move and then my opponent immediately takes advantage of it, because then I'm like, wait, if I just didn't make that move, my opponent just wouldn't be able to play bishop f4. So yeah, also I'm going to try this. I'm going to do a little taste test of this, but we're going to set up the current position, which is after bishop g3, takes, and it is right now Hikaru to move. Guys, this is a little taste test of Nutella and Go. I've never had this. I'm very intrigued. Let's do a chess mukbang, yeah. Haven't had Nutella in years. Oh, I didn't remember the consistency of Nutella being this. You see, guys, I'm not having lunch because I'm commentating, and the lunch is between 2 and 4, so that's why I'm always snacking during these streams, because I get hungry. Okay, look at this. I got a pretty big chunk of Nutella over here. This is good, but I don't understand. The ratio of Nutella and the sticks is way off. Like, it's not like you're gonna do like a whole, you know, like there's so much, like it's not like you're gonna do this. This is way too much Nutella in my opinion. This is way too much Nutella. I feel like the ratio is strange. I would change the ratio to more sticks, less sauce. But it works. Yeah, the ratio is off. Nutella is a sponsor? Absolutely not. I mean, I wish Nutella sponsored me. That would be cool. Guys, you think every time I talk about snacks, I'm sponsored? I like Pringles. I like Nutella. There's a lot of things in the world that I like. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Yeah, you run out of sticks. Okay. Well, we're gonna continue here. Whilst we're snacking, we're gonna check out what Hikaru ends up doing in this game. When you run out of sticks, you use your fingers? Is that what you do? No, I would put like a carrot or something in, a celery stick. I would chop up some carrots and put them in Nutella. Okay. We have knight f7 on the board. And this move, I think, also makes a lot of sense because this knight, this is what I was talking about before. The pieces, they have paths. They have paths to go to greater places. This knight wants to go to g5. Now that there's these pawns are doubled, we see that there's no pawn that can kick away a knight on g5. This means that this is now going to be a fantastic square for the knight to be in. And after something like Hikaru castling rook f8, knight g5, I actually really like this for Hikaru. And I think it's going to be quite easy to create an attack on this king. This bishop, sorry, this pawn on g4 is quite weak because of this bishop. With something like knight g5, rook f castles, rook f8, knight f6, I think this pawn can become really weak really fast. So yeah, I really am starting to like this for Hikaru. I think that there's many ways where he can gain some kind of advantage. So we're gonna see how this game progresses. It's gonna be very, very interesting to see. Thank you so much, Lightning Gun, as well, for the 100 bits. Congrats on winning the match versus Alex. I knew you could do it. And the best with the commentary today. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. So Gukesh is now sitting by the board. One thing that I've realized is that when Gukesh and Hikaru are sitting by the board, or when they're playing against each other, it's very rare that both players are sitting by the board. I feel like both of them walk quite a lot during the games. So yesterday when I was trying to get video footage of both of them by the board, it took me a long time to get it. Yeah. It took me quite a long time to get it. Guys, I'm just snacking a little bit on my sticks. I hope it's okay. Very, very yummy. Honestly, I think the Nutella Go is a solid like 7 out of 10. It's not nutritious. You shouldn't eat this for lunch like I'm doing, but definitely like better than I expected. Okay, I'm gonna stop snacking on these. I'm sorry. Very yummy. Very yummy. Okay. So, what will Gukesh do over here? I mean, he can do different things. He could go, for instance, something like King H2. That is very possible. He could also go something like Rook F4 to try to double up the rooks on the F file. He could also just completely ignore Hikaru's mess over here and just say, hey, Hikaru, I am going for it, and go C4. Actually, I can really see C4 happening because then you're starting to attack the opponent. So C4, putting a rook on C1, I think makes all the sense in the world, just so that we're not immediately turning passive and just defending right now. I think that is really, really, really important. So we're switching again. Let's see to which board we switch. We are switching to Javacure versus Fabiano. I am so excited. Like, I think both of the knockout games today are so exciting. Fabiano versus Javacure. This a huge game, a huge, ginormous game, because we see Fabiano 9 minutes on the clock, but he has been able to make a comeback. It looked as if he was just having a horrible position. And now after B4, we saw this great move by Fabi. Javacure ended up taking, and now Fabi went bishop e6, the best move in the position, and Fabi's making a comeback. He is showing why he's the #2 player in the world right now. He is threatening this knight and asking this knight, where are you gonna go? And after the knight goes somewhere, he's gonna place a rook on b8, and then he's gonna ask, hey, how are you gonna defend all of this? And it's not clear how he's gonna do it, because you cannot take here, because then this bishop is gonna come down to b2. So maybe you play something like knight c5, but no worries, you go a takes b4, threatening the queen, and when the queen goes somewhere, we don't know where, literally the queen doesn't even have that many places to go to. Like if you go here, we can just go queen a7, threaten the knight, threaten the pawn, and pick everything up. So maybe you go queen a6, but this is really worrisome. After something like rook b5, you can literally go rook a5, you're threatening this. If you go something like queen a8 check, you can go king e7, and the king can escape. The king can escape to g8. You don't even need to castle. And now the threat is to go rook a5 and pick up this pawn. So, yeah, it's just very, very, very exciting right now, this game. And it's a moment where I can also see in Fabi's face, it feels like he's made a comeback. Like, I'm looking at him and I see more life than what I saw a little bit before. So I really think that Fabi knows that finally the position has turned out a lot better than what it was a little bit prior to this. So knight g4 could be a move that Javakir regrets for a long time. We are going to see. We see Javakir's heart rate is going up, 102. Caruana also has a pretty high heart rate. Not as high as maybe I had yesterday. I saw that my heart rate kept going up. Guys, am I a person that stresses a lot? I think so. It was really cool though to see my heart rate. But yeah, now I see what the players are feeling. Now I see what the players are feeling. So bishop e6. Will the knight maybe go? I mean, the knight can also go to e3, which also makes a lot of sense. But I think that no matter what, Fabi's going to go rook b8. And actually, Fabi's using right now the time from Javakir. He goes knight f6. Javakir goes knight f6. And Fabiano Caruana instantly rook e7. Which makes sense. But best move in the position. He plays it after 5 seconds. Fabiano's completely making a comeback. Look at the eval bar. It's turning more and more in Fabiano's favor. It is minus 0.94 right now. Things are turning around for Fabi. And Fabi is right now dominating the position. Everything that looked so wrong for him is now looking right. And this is going to be... honestly, guys, like, I'm happy for Fabi because if he wins today, he's going to be really excited. And we're playing Avalon every night. It's like me, Fabi, there's some more players. Levon has played as well. A lot of nights. Tanya is there. David Howell. Levy is there. Like, we're a lot of players and commentators who play Avalon every night, which is a kind of mafia card game. And we play it every night. And we've done it with Fabi because whenever we've done it, he's done really well. And I don't want him to say that he doesn't want to play Avalon anymore. So the more he wins, the more Avalon we get. And that does make me happy. It does make me happy. So, okay. Yeah, let's see. So actually, Javakir now instantly plays b5. I really think he's trying to pressure Fabi on the clock. So b5, and this is just simply because he doesn't want to open up, I think, the b file. But b5 looks crazy because now, like, you can literally take with check, but actually after king b1, the king is pretty safe over there. So I'm wondering what would be the best thing. And actually the best move here, what is happening to the camera? Actually, the best move here is to go h5, threatening the knight. And after the knight cannot move anywhere, because if the knight moves, we say goodbye to the other knight over here. So, yeah, so knight g8 has to be played, and it looks strange, but you cannot take it because then the queen is taking the rook because of this. So here, c takes b5 check, and after king here, there's b4, and now preventing the queen from being able to take that. And after the queen moves somewhere, I don't even know where it's going to go. It doesn't have a lot of places to go to. Maybe it'll go to f3. there is the move Rook C8, and this is just incredible because the idea is that there would be ideas such as Queen C2 and then Queen B2 checkmate. Thank you so much, Dimitriento, for the 10 euros. Who ate my Pringles? Anna, you got me rolling again. Please make a short with same title. 1 million views guaranteed, always making me laugh. Thank you so much for the 10 euros. I'm happy I make some of you laugh with my comments. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that can happen in this game. It's a very exciting game. Fabiana Caruana with only 7 minutes to go. And the cameras are lagging a little bit. It is some technical issues that have happened today, but it is all fine. We are still here, and we are excited to see what move Fabiana Caruana does now as his 20th move. And he's thinking, and he's soon gonna get into bullet mode. And bullet mode, let me tell you, is a very fun mode. So, yeah, we're gonna see what happens over here very soon. Honestly, like the H5! Best move found by Fabiana Caruana. Of course, this is what the number 2 in the world does. Fabiana Caruana going H5. Amazing move. The best move. The only move that gives him the advantage that he wants to have in this current position with Javakir Sindarov. So H5 is just an amazing move because you now have a very serious issue. And the issue is, where does this knight go? It's a simple question, but simple questions sometimes have the most difficult answers. It's like asking someone, you know, what makes you happy? It's like, it can be a very deep question. What is love? What is, you know, like there's, so, okay, this is, okay, I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, this is not the same question as what is love, but what I'm trying to say is that this is a very important question, because if this knight moves, this knight will be hanging. It's as simple as that. This knight moves, the protection of this knight is gone. So, oh, whoops, wait. Yeah, so this knight is the protector of this other knight. This knight is now attacked by a pawn. The knight must move. Bam, this knight will fall apart. So, you might say, okay, but isn't this losing them for Javakir? No, it's not losing, because there are moves that he can do, such as b takes c6. But look how fast Javakir is playing right now. He's playing this fast because he wants to pressure Fabiana Caruana. But I am wondering if this is the wrong approach, because I feel like he's right now just not playing the most accurate moves, only to pressure Fabi. But Fabi, with this pressure, is finding the best moves because he's the number 2 in the world. So I'm not sure if this is what Javakir is, wanting, truly. But yeah, b takes c6 on the spot. And now, if you would take the knight, well, then there is the move queen takes e7. This is the idea. And sacrificing the queen, and then if the king takes, there's knight d5 check, and this is a fork because the bishop is pinned because of this rook. So after the king moves, we would see a few problems here. And then after c takes d7, this would just be, you know, it's crazy because Fabi would actually be a couple pawns down. This rook is hanging, but actually he would be in a better position because of how active his pieces are. And what do you do? How do you defend over here? Well, this would actually be a decent position for him too. So he can do a lot of different things. He can take the knight, but he can also just simply take the pawn with the pawn, not with the queen, because there's the bishop hiding over here on g2. So he can take the pawn with the pawn. And now queen here is not possible because then we take with the queen. So that is not possible anymore. So instead, maybe we would see something like queen check, but the king would go to c8. And now, once again, the big issue is how do you defend the two knights? Let's say the knight would go somewhere like e5. What happens then? Well, what happens if that is this? There's knight takes g6. And at least here, you know, we would be seeing black having a lot of, or at least one extra pawn. But also white's king would be weak, but also black's king would be weak. But here there's this crazy move. Completely crazy move. You know, sacrificing the bishop and just showcasing how weak this king is, because now, because this pawn is still on d2, you cannot really stop this checkmate. The only thing you can do is go here. But this is just, wow, this is incredible. Like, there's so many attacking ways. So Fabi with 4 minutes on the clock, will he take the knight or will he take the pawn on c6? It is a very, very, very interesting moment, and he does the best move once again. Fabiano Caruana playing like stockfish. He goes d takes c6, and what a fantastic move that is. So yeah, great move, d takes c6. Very, very, very strong move, and yeah, now he does only have 5 minutes on the clock, but up until he gets those just a few seconds left, I think he's still going to continue doing really strong moves. But we'll see if the time difference does make any big difference in this game. This is sparkling water, by the way. It's not champagne. It's not beer. It's sparkling water. I'm just drinking like this because it's more fun. So, yeah. But Sindarov, 43 minutes versus 5 minutes. It's the game. Anything can happen. It's still a two-person game, but the current position is looking favorable for Fabi. Although I would obviously take Sindarov's position here, because me playing with 5 minutes left, I would be stressed. Like, I understand both of the heart rates are so high, but I'd be so stressed here if I was Fabi. But what is happening here? Okay, what is happening? Sindarov goes 95, and now Fabi is, yeah, he picks up the piece. It's an extra piece for Fabi, but Sindarov has this check. But after king e8, we're gonna see probably, I mean, if we see knight, oh, you cannot take here because it's pinned. What is this? What is going on? Fabiano Caruana is a piece up, everybody. Fabiano Caruana is a piece up versus Javakir Sindarov, and Javakir for sure has 2 pawns for that, but a piece is very, 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 very big here. So king e8 was the last move that we saw, and now there's all kinds of threats. I mean, d4, you know, can be played by Sindarov in this position, but then we go rook c8. The queen and the rook, they're all coordinating, and this king that looks like he's dancing around the board, he's gonna dance to a safe spot. Let's say the king would go to b1 to get rid of this whole thing. Well, then there's bishop f5. The king goes even further. Well, then you can actually trade, and then now this knight cannot move anywhere because, sorry, I'm just gonna play a move. Oh. Then there would be checkmate. You would do this puzzle rush trick. So where will Fabi go? He has 5 minutes on the clock. Let's see. Fabi ends up going king e8, and that was the best move. And then Sindarov immediately goes king b1, and you know, Sindarov playing very fast right now. He wants to keep this huge time advantage, but yeah, king b1. Now, I mean, we could see rook b8. This move looks good. It does look a bit strange because you're sacrificing the rook, but this is a possible move. You can, the issue is that, like, if you just move the rook or something like this, which looks very logical, then there's this move queen f3, threatening the bishop, and this is a really, really, really tactical position, because there's all kinds of tactics here with knight e5, and yeah, there's all kinds of things. So yeah, to be fair, like, it could very quickly go wrong. So that's why actually sacrificing here back the exchange is the best thing Fabi can do. But after a position like this, with these two bishops looking towards the king and the rook being able to come maybe at some point to b7 and everything, like, this is a very good position for Fabi. Let's say that he would do something like b3. Well, then we have bishop f5 check, and it's going to end up becoming a checkmate pretty much, because this bishop is dominating. So things can go really wrong very quickly, but he only has 4 minutes on the clock. He only has 4 minutes on the clock. And look, Sindarov's heart rate is much higher than Fabi's right now, which is actually pretty surprising considering the time difference in this moment. You know? Okay, Sindarov coming back now. Sitting by the board. Fabi still hasn't made a move. He has 3 minutes and 51 seconds left. All right. I mean, guys, can you really tell me that I am bad with time management? I'm just doing what Fabiana Caruana does. I'm doing what the number 2 in the world does. That's going to be what I say every single time from now on in my future tournaments. I'm just doing what the world number 2 does. And he goes rook a6 instead of rook b8. And this move looks logical. You're defending the bishop. You're pushing the rook. You are defending everything, but it isn't a good move according to the engine. And we're probably going to start seeing Fabi making mistakes with little time because he only has a few minutes left. So now knight takes e7, I'm sure we're going to see. And now something like this could happen. But if we see this whole trades of pieces, I mean, I'm sure he's going to take. If we see this whole trades of pieces, now it's not so clear how he continues. Like, I wouldn't take with the queen here. I would take with the bishop just to threaten this, just so we can keep the attack going. But after something like queen c3, Javakir is, well, some pawns up. And how do you continue the attack? It's not completely clear. Because now you get a lot of counterplay as well. So it would have been much better for Fabi to place this rook instead of on a6, to place it on b8, still sacrificing, you know, a rook, but immediately putting pressure on b2. But this is not so easy to see, obviously. But this would have been better. So I guess he's just thinking, I mean, I understand why he played this. I guess he's just thinking that now he's also going to be able to go rook b6 and threaten on b2 with the rook. Fabi actually ends up capturing with the queen. And now after takes and takes, I don't see how you're going to continue your attack as black. And I guess Fabi's just going to enter this position which he feels like he can never lose with little time. But, which also makes sense. But there's no clear advantage for him right now. No clear advantage at all. Ball of Nerdles, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you. I appreciate it. Welcome to the Anna Cramling Sub Club. You're very appreciated. So yeah, Javakir has 42 minutes to figure this out. And guys, I am going to go ahead and run to the bathroom really quickly. I'm going to leave you on with this game. I'm going to rush to the bathroom in the playing hall and I'll be back in just a second. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back very soon.
Where it often ends up, you know, in standard chess, it would just feel so incredibly safe, close to that knight on the board, controlling all squares around it.
It would be very nice. But now I think Fabi can breathe a sigh of relief because he's not going to get checkmated now. And White really should start making some trades because Black will start a very vicious counterattack pretty quickly. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, the White King not safe either. But Sindarov, if he wants to keep kind of taking risk, playing on Fabi's clock, he might keep the queens on, he might be tempted, and that could backfire. Yeah. So things still dramatic here. Just an update on Magnus Carlsen's board. Magnus low on time, but the queens are off there. He actually sacrificed a pawn, the world number 1, in his desperate attempt to win. It looks like a totally fine position, but fine is not enough for Carlsen. So I wonder whether we switch now that Fabi has weathered the first attack.
Can at the very least hop there for a little bit until this one makes a bit more progress. Both players over in that Vincent Keymer versus Magnus Carlsen game have over 10 minutes. Actually, in fact, Vincent double the time of his opponent, almost exactly in this moment.
Vincent is also up a pawn. We should do a replay of how it got here. I think Vincent didn't attack in the most ruthless way possible, and Magnus got a little bit of counter chances, but I mean, the position you have now is like, okay, maybe White won't lose because White has a lot of activity. And I mean, Black's got the same situation that is on the other board. Javak here has a center pawn and it's blocking his rook. Here it's Keymer who has the center pawn. But Magnus has to win, which...
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, I don't know how on earth you even begin to do that. Like, you could maybe look for an imbalance somehow, but you have to trade a bishop for a knight probably and just try to get something that you can work on. Yeah, losing this, I think if Vincent loses this, it would somehow be more impressive than Magnus winning it. Like, this is what I feel. But, okay, he can still blunder, and that will be that.
Let's have a quick action replay for those of you who are just joining us of the last few moves to see how Vincent won. We last left it with Magnus Carlsen. So Magnus looked like he's ready. Right back, actually throwing to a nice square, hitting this white. The opening up this diagonal. Magnus here just pushed his pawn forward one square, given an exclamation point here. Apparently a very strong move, stopping the Black Knights from having access. Vincent castled his king, so actually staying with his king on that square, but getting his rook out, connecting his rooks. And Magnus just said, okay, I know this pawn is hanging, but please have it. Please feel free. He pushed his pawn forward, and surprising to me, because after queen takes pawn, Magnus now spent about 10 minutes on the clock. You would think, having sacrificed a pawn, he had a plan. This was his plan after all, to trade queens, but maybe it's just that realization that winning is going to be such an uphill struggle here. It's going to be such a challenge, and I mean, I would just want to get this Black Knight back into the game as soon as possible. It looks like Vincent should be totally fine.
Well, and what a different dynamic this game has as a result, right? Because, you know, I'll remind everybody that for Fabiano and Sindarov, both of them are looking at if they go into a drawn position, there is no loser just yet, you know, opportunities for them to go into that tie break and ultimately come out on top. But for this matchup between Vincent Keymer and Magnus, it's one and done.
I think Gukesh has made a mistake.
Ooh.
Looks like Hikaru is better against Gukesh. We can head over there.
Yeah, we can.
That one's
let's go there now. We just saw the eval bar swing, so let's investigate as to why that happened.
Wow.
Hikaru gets a... It's just a great move. I'm looking at 2 different game reviews in the studio.
Is it brilliant or great? What is it?
And one is telling me it's brilliant, but I would not be so quick to crown that a brilliant move. Oh, that's the one that's on the big screen. I mean, it's not that brilliant. You can't take a knight, but all right, fine. The game review being extra nice to Hikaru. Also, it looks emerald on this monitor. It's normally just blue. And if we just back up a move, Hikaru had just castled, and we had the castling on the opposite sides, which means it's going to be spicy. And Gukesh pushed the wrong pawn. So he had to move his leftmost pawn, the A pawn, for reasons I haven't fully dove into, but he moves the other one, which makes sense because he's targeting the hook, which we've talked about on this broadcast, the pawn in front of the castled king that you can target. That's apparently a mistake, and now Hikaru immediately lashing out with knight c5, and he's better, although to my eye, at first glance, I don't really understand why. He's obviously just attacking 2 things, but what if Gukesh just steps back?
Yeah, I think first you have to choose a square for the queen, but his next plan, this is the computer pointing out now, bishop takes knight, and then the knight that's just jumped is going to swing back, attack white's loose rook, and attack white's central pawn as well. So a tempo play, but that's hidden. That's not so obvious, I would say. Hence why Gukesh might have missed it.
I think Hikaru sees it.
Yes.
Just like a...
He's going to rotate those knights.
It's like a... Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like a blitz trick. I can already see Hikaru in a Title Tuesday. Like, queen c2. Oh, and then I can take the juicer and then rotate, and then I got D's knights on e6 and g5, and that rook on f4 is... it's not looking too good. So this could turn around.
Yeah, we're also forcing the white queen out of the fight at the same time, right?
Yeah. We should also mention that Hikaru's already a pawn up. He did actually grab a pawn that Gukesh just gave him with the black queen earlier on g3. So Hikaru looking like he's a big favorite as the clocks tick down in this middle game.
And it's incredibly concrete, right? The next few moves, because the white queen is so overloaded trying to defend the pawn on the left flank as well as the central pawn, and there's really no good square to stay connected to that. I believe Gukesh is on the way to lose his second pawn, which would mean a match victory for Hikaru.
Yep.
And,
he would await the winner of Nodjibak Firouzja.
Should we check back in with our semi-final bracket as clock's ticking low and both very exciting games? David, I'll let you take a pick of which one should we go to first.
Ooh, tough choice. There have been no moves at either board, surprisingly.
Maybe not so tough then.
Yeah, Sindarov is now taking his time, but here you go. Here's the bird's eye you for everybody at home. And as I say it, Sindarov makes me a liar by finding a move, or choosing a move, I should say.
He's not going to the endgame.
Keeps the queens on.
He's trying to keep the queen. He's completely playing
Okay, chat, I'm
Fabiano's
back.
clock. It's
Hello? How are we
it's
doing?
a strategy for
Hope
sure.
we're doing good.
Might
Now to
work
run to
against
play
me.
home.
You know, I might panic. I don't know if Fabiano's going to panic, though, but...
Fabiano, we have the game. Moves are happening, and he has 4 minutes on the clock. Let's see the current position. Things have changed, everybody. This is so exciting because look at this. When I left, he had made this move, which wasn't the best move ever. But knight takes rook, queen takes, and now, instead of trading queens, Javakir Sindarov doesn't want to trade queens. He goes queen a4 check, and now we have king f7. Best move by Fabiano Caruana. And now the position has changed, because maybe the reason he wanted to do this was because he wanted to go bishop d5. Look at that. I'm talking at the same time as the moves are being played. So, bishop d5. Now, the idea is that this bishop is pinned. The rook cannot, the bishop cannot take, because then the queen is hanging. But the problem is that there's this move, rook d6, now threatening this bishop. And where does the bishop go? If the bishop goes something like bishop b3, then the king will just go to g3. Just go to g7. Let's see actually what he ends up doing. What he ended up doing, he went king g7 immediately, which is also a good move. And now, I think it's just going to keep that, like, basically it's just saying, listen, yes, this is pinned, but my bishop is defended by my knight, it's defended by my rook, it's defended by my queen. I don't care if you're threatening my bishop a million times, I am defending it just as many times. My bishop is fine. And then the idea is going to be to go rook b6, attack over here. And, like, let's say it does something like this, you know? If you go b3, the issue is that you never want to go b3, because this king will forever be cut off then. So, yeah, it's just, you never, ever, ever as white want to go b3, because, because then this king will just never be able to hide. And you need a hiding place. You need to be able to play hide and seek with the king in chess, because the king sometimes needs to hide from the scary monsters of the opponent, which are the pieces. So very important to be able to do that. The king is now in a dark square, which is better. And now Javakir needs to find some way of complicating matters for Fabi, because Fabi only has 4 minutes left, but the last few moves Fabi has played with very little time on the clock, and he's played them very well. So I don't know if time is going to be too much of an issue this game. I think it is for most players, but Fabi, it's really impressive how well he's playing with the little time that he has right now. It's very, very, very impressive. I'm also really curious of what's happening in the Vincent Magnus game. We're going to be going there in a little bit, but let's see. Let's see first what happens in this game, because I have a feeling that Javakir wants to play moves fast, and I have a feeling he's gonna play something very soon. But yeah, we don't know. But I've seen that Javakir has been playing moves really quickly. Also, can I just ask a question to all the Germans? Why is it so cold in your country? Why is it so cold in your country, Germany? I do not understand. It's so incredibly cold that I don't even know what to do. It's actually insane. I'm freezing no matter where I go. I want to go on walks every morning, but every morning I walk outside and I just freeze so much that I immediately regret it. Listen, is Sweden worse? I don't know, because I'm not in Sweden. I just know that this country is so cold right now. So, and I think the main issue is that I only brought my coat. I only brought a blue coat, because I wanted to be fashionable, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna walk around with my blue coat and my pink bag. Well, guess what, Anna? Your blue coat is literally a summer coat. It's not warm. My blue coat is not warm at all. I brought my coldest coat, because I always do the same mistake. Thank you so much to Zebra for the 4 months. Thank you. Guys, I I really always trick myself, because every time that I pack, I stress. And when I stress, I get warm, because I'm running around my house, and I pack and I get stressed, right? And then I'm warm. So then I'm really hot, and I'm like, man, I don't want to bring a heavy jacket to the plane, because I'm so hot right now Like, I need some fresh air. And instead of getting fresh air, I just bring my coldest coat, because in that specific moment, I'm too warm. Does that make sense? But I always trick myself with that. Luis Enable, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you. I appreciate it. There's a common German quote, there's no bad weather, only bad clothing. That's a Swedish quote. Why are the Germans stealing our Swedish quote? That's a Swedish saying. I've never heard that. Never heard that. Which is why I think that a yellow velvet blazer tournament organizers would just be so good, because the velvet would keep me warm and I could run around and just be so happy with my warm yellow velvet blazer that looks just as Vincent Keymer's blazer. So if anyone is listening to this, a yellow velvet blazer would just fix all my problems. Speaking of, we're seeing the yellow velvet blazer right in front of our eyes. It is right there. Look at that. Look at that. So, here it is. And now, ladies and gentlemen, things have happened in this game. Magnus Carlsen has taken the lead. We saw a few different things happen the last time we were here in Knight G4. We had long castles from Magnus, Knight B6, and then B3, which was a crucial move to prevent Knight C4. But now he had given up the pawn on C3, E4, Queen takes C3. This all makes sense. But after E5, Vincent Keymer played the move D5, and the engine didn't like this move whatsoever, because of the fact that this bishop doesn't have a lot of places to go to. This bishop that I previously called the clumsy bishop now has become this one. So the engine is really worried about king c2, because after takes and rook takes, preparing, a double of rooks here, knight f6 could be coming in, and now this pawn is getting weak. This pawn is weak. It's not easy to attack this pawn. This bishop is magnificent, and even if Vincent Keymer is a pawn up, like, this pawn has now become really strong, and this knight on f6 is going to be amazing. So, actually, chat, it might be that Magnus Carlsen makes the comeback, and he's about to make a move. He takes en passant, and just as I'm saying it, he loses this beautiful pawn that we were saying was giving him so much amazing power in this position. And the saying that en passant is forced, he made all the memers happy and all the Redditors happy, but he made the chess world sad, because pawn takes d6 now gets rid of this beautiful pawn, and unfortunately it wasn't forced. So, yeah, pawn takes d6. What do you do now? What do you do now? Vincent Keymer, what will he do now? I mean, you can go bishop e6. I mean, you cannot really take this. It makes sense, honestly, to take it, because it is a free pawn that he's gotten But, okay, let's say go something like bishop e6. Now the problem is that this knight is just so strong. But I think what we're going to have to see is just some king b8, some rook over here, and then some, I think Vincent has to play against this king. And now that the pawn is on b3, this king is now kind of trapped in the corner. And so with a bishop on f5 as well, which is I think why bishop e6 is so strong, I really think that we can create some trouble for this king. I will forever love that chess.com has to showcase what en passant means. And it says en passant is a special pawn move by which a pawn captures another pawn that has advanced 2 squares. So I love that chess.com has to explain it, because so many people go, oh, this person cheated. They en passanted me. I actually had that once. I was playing an over the board game with someone in Dubai, and this guy, I en passant, and he said that that's an illegal move. Like, that's not a chess move. And I was like, listen, trust me, it's a chess move. He was like, no, I played chess my whole life. That's not a chess move. You're cheating. And I was like, what do I even do? How do I argue against this guy? I just wish that I could show Like, I could prove that it was a move. But yeah, so I was just like, I mean, I'm right. I don't know what to tell you. You're wrong and I'm right. But yeah, that's that. That's that. Yeah. It's just like, how do I prove it? But I guess I could have asked him to Google it, but I don't know if he had en passant. Yeah, but he was very much telling me that I was lying, and yeah. I mean, actually, I just said, okay, whatever. Like, I can't deal with that then. I was like, okay, you're right. Let's continue the game. And then he was happy, and we continued, and I did an en passant. I didn't want to deal with the argument, but I was like, listen up. I'm not always right, but this time I am objectively correct, and you're objectively wrong. So, yeah. Let's go back and see. Fabiano Caruana is taking the big lead with 3 minutes left on the clock. It is a lead that is massive. It is a lead that is becoming bigger and bigger all the time. Did he win? No, of course not. I mean, if it's someone that doesn't know what en passant is, the level is not good enough for me to lose. So of course I beat him, so it was fine. I mean, if I would have lost the game, I would have been very upset. But no, I absolutely beat him. So, d4, queen b7. We were seeing all of these moves. The last time we were here was king g7. Takes, d4. Idea was to go to go d5, pinning the knight. So the queen went to b7, the best move in the position. Rook d2, rook b6, and now it is Javakure to move. And there isn't really any threat. I mean, if he goes here, there's rook takes b2, so this would lose on the spot. This would just lose on the spot. But now maybe he can go queen a3 to defend. And then, I mean, I think we're just going to see Fabi improving his pieces. Like, this pawn on d4 is very weak. And we also have this imbalance where Fabi has a knight and a bishop for a rook and a couple pawns, which typically would favor white. But because of the fact that this king is so weak, and because of the fact that somehow black's pieces are coordinating a lot better than white's, Fabi is much better in this position. So it is Javakure to move. I want to ask all of you, how do you think this game is going to go? What do you think the result of this game will be? This is a knockout tournament. So now if Fabi would win, he would be going to the finals and Javakure would be eliminated. If this becomes a draw, they are going to be going to tiebreakers. So I'm seeing a lot of people over on Twitch saying that they think that Fabi is going to win. A lot of people are saying a draw. I want to see what my YouTube has to say. YouTube, what do you think is going to happen in this game? Your voices are heard. Your words are important. And your thoughts are the soul of our commentary. I'm not sure. But anyways, I'm intrigued to know what they think. But I'm seeing a lot of people saying Fabi winning, and I actually do think that Fabi is going to win this game. With this position, even if he only has 4 minutes on the clock, I think that Fabi is going to win. But we will see if that is what ends up happening. I'm not switching games yet because I'm waiting for the commentary to switch games, and as soon as they do, I will be switching games as well. I do think that Javakure realizes in what trouble he is, and this is just now really not a position that he's happy about. I just think it's so incredible how fast Fabi has been able to play these last few moves. Like, I want to see what the commentators are saying.
Now you can get your rook out the way with gain of time, with a check. And next move, deliver the killing blow. This would trap the white king in the corner.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly happens if the king goes the other way, but this does look awfully wrong for white somehow. Maybe just a trade actually in the center, and you can pick up the white rook next. So there's a lot of calculation be done. This is just to show what's going through the players' minds, of course. But Fabiano, that is one of his strongest points in chess.
Also, I see that there is a pawn hanging on that left side. The queen's connected to it right now. I think the key pawn in the position is that white central pawn, because once that's off the board, suddenly the bishop opens down to triple down on the pawn in front of the white king. So that's really the one that you need to keep defended, unless you've got tactical justifications for it.
Yeah, Fabi, I mean, I made a prediction earlier that he wouldn't survive the onslaught, but somehow, with a bit of a helping hand from the opponent, it just looks like his position is so easy to play. That's the main thing. 4 minutes is fine if your next few moves are obvious or the calculation is very kind of specific and concrete.
Well, no human is perfect, right? And in sport, capitalization on opponents' mistakes is sometimes what separates the good from the great. And so Fabiano in dire position at one point.
James is able to find all these great words. Like, I need to expand my vocabulary, everybody. I need to find more words. Like, if I could just use really cool words when I was commentating, I would feel very five-head. Now instead I'm using words such as five-head, which the official commentary would never use. We're gonna check out other games as well to see how things are going. So, I should probably read, someone in chat is saying that I should read more classic books. And to be fair, I probably should. Like, I think, honestly, the last long book I read, apart from The Alchemist, was, like, The Cuckoo's Nest. Something flew over cuckoo. What's the name? It's been a long time since I read that book. But I've read that one. I read that whole book, yeah. It was a really good book. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yes, I think cuckoo is a funny word. But yeah, anyways, so I do want to see the movie as well. Here we have a very close time situation. 6 minutes for Magnus Carlsen, 11 minutes for Vincent Keymer, and the position is now balanced. I mean, we're not going to say equal, but balanced. And we're seeing now Vincent went for this move, bishop e6, which I think is fantastic because he wants to place his bishop on f5. He wants to get a rook on the c file, and then, quite frankly, he wants to checkmate this king. With the bishop on f5 and this bishop on c3, taking these diagonals, these two diagonals are not going to be possible for the king to be able to move to, and so this king is going to be very weak. The material right now is equal, but this pawn can either become a great weakness or a great strength. And so without this bishop, this pawn is falling apart. So the question is there any way for black to get rid of this bishop? This pawn could also be very strong. Obviously, if they trade off all the pieces, this pawn is going to become quite strong. But right now, with as many pieces as there are, this pawn is not really that dangerous. Magnus is in a must-win situation. He must win this game to advance. So this is quite a tricky position for him to be able to play. So his last move was rook g1, defending the knight. And now, I mean, you can go, like, black could go h5. And then after this, like, let's say the knight would go something like h6. Because I don't really know exactly where the knight goes to. Like, if you go something like knight e3, you can just go bishop takes b3, and now this is a beautiful intermediate move because the rook would be able to capture this knight. So this is a move that is very much possible to be made. But h5, where does the knight go? If knight h6, okay, well then maybe we'll take, and after rook takes, once again, bishop takes b3 is possible because there's this check. So this could be possible. It could also obviously stay over there. Yeah, I'm trying to think about what else one can do, but probably this is what he would want to be able to do that. We see a lot of similar moves as we've seen in the other games. Like, for instance, here, this bishop kind of capitalizing on the fact that b3 has been played. This bishop being able to come up to f5, h5. Like, a lot of these moves we're seeing also in the Fabi game. So, yeah, very exciting. But this is not the Fabi game. That was the Vincent Magnus game. Fabiano Caruana is right here, and now he has a fully winning position versus Javakir Sindarov. Things have gone even worse for him because Javakir took this a5 pawn, and just like Tanya was saying, this pawn was holding on to the whole position. Knight takes d4, queen a4, king h6, the best move in the position. What does Javakir do? He plays a fantastic move, king h6. He's dominating, he's winning. The queen is now going to come up, the rook, the queen, the bishop, everything is just falling apart for Javakir. And I would bet all of my Pringles that Fabiano Caruana is going to win this game. I mean, it's completely crumbling right now for Javakir Sindarov. It's completely crumbling. And I think that Fabi's going to win, which is going to be crazy to think that Fabi had 9 minutes versus an hour, and Fabi's been able to figure all of this out in 7 minutes. Very impressive by Fabiano Caruana. But this is how the #2 chess player in the world plays. He just plays good chess, which honestly makes sense. He's the second best chess player in the world, so it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, really incredible to watch. Andrea called me Anna Crumbling yesterday. I heard Anna Crumbling. I heard Anna Crushling, which I preferred. I like Anna Crushling. I think that should be my next name, everybody. I would like to introduce myself as Anna Crushling. I just crush everyone. I quite like that. That's what I'm going to start doing. When I shake hands with people, instead of saying, hi, I'm Anna, I'm going to say, hi, I'm Anna Crushling. And then I'm going to press the hand and make everyone scared of me. And then the whole chess community will be scared. No, I'm kidding. That would be a little bit too much. But Anna Crushling, that would be quite something. There's a lot of funny names that can be done with my last name. That is kind of, yeah, how it's become. Rook f2 was just played by Javakir Sindarov, and now, you know, the engine is saying this is completely winning. You can even go for the move knight e2, eliminating one of the defenses of b2, with the idea being that if rook takes e2, you have queen h1 check. Look at this. This is beautiful. You guys have to see this. Rook takes b2, and after king d3, there is queen d5 check, king over here, bishop g5 check, and now the only thing that you can do is go, wow, queen here. Why can you not go rook there? Oh, because queen e6. And wow, queen takes e2. Like, you guys see, like, completely crushing. So knight e2 would right now be crazy. If this move, well, then after rook takes b2, it's also going to be pretty much a checkmate. But all of this is obviously really easy to see when we have an engine, but harder to see it in real life. So will Fabi find knight e2, finishing off the game with a minute left on the clock? Let's see. Will he find it? Will he find knight e2? It's the moment of truth. He has a minute left on the clock, and he's calculating. His heart rate is going up. Will knight e2 be found in front of us? There's also ideas such as going knight f3, which is maybe a, you know, safer bet if he doesn't see the exact continuation of knight e2. But in this position, to have a fully winning position, he must go knight f3 or knight e2, and he goes knight f3, which honestly I thought he was going to do because it does the same thing as knight e2, but it does it with a little bit, you know, more, it's not as scary. It's definitely not as scary because you're not giving up a whole piece. So knight f3 is played. Good move by Fabiano Caruana. Good and safe move. And there is now queen f4 check, but then there's going to be g5. And if something like this, there's always rook takes b2, which you can't really allow. So, I mean, I think we are in the final moments of this Fabi versus Javakir game. So exciting, so incredible. I think this is probably one of my favorite games of the whole tournament. I've truly enjoyed it. Rook e2 is played now to defend on b2. Fabi with only a minute 11 on the clock. We see now that unfortunately this knight is preventing the queen from coming up to h1, but Fabi plays the best move in the position, knight d4, to now have queen h1 be available, and now they've repeated once. So now, well, the question is, yeah, knight f3. He cannot do this again because this would be threefold repetition. So he must now find 92. Will Fabiano Caruana find 92 with a minute on the clock, or will he not? Will he not? He cannot go knight of 3 anymore because after rook e2, he can't go knight d4 because then it's threefold repetition. So will he find it? Will he find it? Knight e2, crucial moment. Crucial moment. He is going to probably think this down to like 20 seconds. Very stressful moment for Fabiano Caruana. Will he see knight e2, or will he panic and go something like king h7 because he can't really figure it out? Let's see. See what his face is saying. He's calculating. He has 30 seconds left. And soon he's going to have to make a decision. 25 seconds left. He goes back. If he goes back, it's repetition. If he goes knight d4, it's repetition. He can't go knight d4 again. What is he gonna do? Maybe he'll go rook b4? He has 30 seconds left. He's looking. It's a draw! Sorry. Oh, he didn't declare a draw? Oh, what? They draw. They draw the game. The game finishes in a draw. Shocking result. What just happened? Time destroyed him. Time destroyed him. What just happened? He couldn't figure it out with the time that he had left. Of course, knight e2 is a difficult move because you do need to calculate very far, and it's not an easy thing to do. But knight e2 is just winning in this spot, and he couldn't find it. And we see now just how important time is. I cannot believe that this game ended in a draw. I think that Javocure cannot believe it himself. He's smiling. Fabi's smiling as well. Let's listen in. I did bet all my Pringles on this game, and I guess I lost my Pringles. So chat, this is for you. I don't know how to physically send this to you, but I guess this is yours. I think you all deserve to buy yourself some Pringles today. But that is crazy. That I cannot believe that this game ended in a draw. That is a crazy result. Yeah. That is a crazy result. Wow. I am in complete shock right now. I'm really curious to see what the other commentators are saying.
In between. Well, I hope he doesn't for his own mind's sake here, Levy, but he's got a tiebreak to play. If he gets to know that he missed a win in that last position, that's not going to be a very good situation to be in.
Yeah, but I think he'll be okay. It sucks, but somehow, like, you know, it was a tough move, and his time was ticking. And if you play knight e2 and you go for the glory and it's losing, you're gonna feel like a really big idiot. So
sure. I guess though, then my next question becomes, while he couldn't find the best move, is there not a waiting move to be played? Something that's just not giving the game back away to just force more moves to be played, more action?
Yes, but the pressure of the game itself, you know, he saw a way to finish things. Yeah. And that's what happens. Like, you were under pressure for so long, he doesn't know it's minus 2.6. Yeah.
And that plays a huge role because you're on the defense from the very start, right? Yeah. You almost feel like you're so close to losing in the first 10 moves. Having that sort of mindset, surviving it, you're just happy to get into playoff. But what a huge miss that was, David.
Yeah, what a huge miss. And we'll see those two players again later today. But in the meantime, Magnus Carlsen still going. And I think he should be happy. I think Magnus fans should be thrilled that the game is still going. And he's turning
completely crazy. But it's true. It's true. Like, the amount of pressure you have when you have 30 seconds left, if you haven't played over the board, you know, chess. Like, you do not understand the crazy pressure. And they also don't just have that, they have thousands of dollars on the line. We know that 92 is winning, but obviously Fabi is not Stockfish. He doesn't know that it's winning. And if he cannot finish the calculation and he cannot figure out if 92 is winning or not, he's giving up a piece for nothing, which with 30 seconds on the clock is terrifying. And he could just lose the game. Like, 92 is a winning or losing game move. And maybe in a regular tournament he would do that. But in a knockout tournament where he must win to be able to go to the next stage, I think that he just felt like, okay, it's not worth it for me to risk it because I cannot finish my calculations with 30 seconds on the clock. And this is just what happened. And this, I think, just shows a very human side of chess. So we're going now to the Magnus Carlsen game. He's playing versus Vincent Keymer. Vincent only needs a draw to move to the next stage, to the finals. And here we have the current position. Vincent started with a fantastic position earlier on, and now things have equalized a little bit more. We see it. Let's go ahead and go back to see. We saw the en passant. We saw Rook G1, Bishop F5. This is my idea, but unfortunately it wasn't such a great idea. No, I'm kidding. It was a good idea. I just like to roast my own moves. But Knight H6 threatening now the Bishop. And instead of going back, which one might think that he would do because he only needs a draw to go to the next stage, Vincent goes for the glory and goes for Knight C6. But now giving up this Bishop and now making this pawn very weak, which is quite surprising to me. And now this pawn is going to be a protected pass pawn, which to me seems very scary, but you know, what do I know? But to me it seems scary to allow this pawn to be a protected pass pawn for the rest of the game now that there's a pawn over here. So yeah, this is right now a very, 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 very crazy situation because Vincent Keymer needs to get a draw to move forward to the next game, and Magnus Carlsen needs to win this. He's going to fight all the way till the end. They have 4 minutes on the clock. It's now a blitz game that we're witnessing. The only thing they get is 30 seconds per move, and this is now going to be very exciting. So, yeah, time is ticking for 3:59 for Vincent. What will he do? I mean, we see right now that this pawn is obviously really strong for white. He goes for rook e2, which makes sense, activating the rook. This looks really strong. Here also, I mean, knight a5, like, all of this technically looks really strong. With rook e2, you're also preventing the king from being able to capture this bishop. So all of this makes a lot of sense. Knight e2, I think, looks good. Maybe we'll see king b1 defending the pawn, rook takes h2, and Vincent will be here a pawn up. But after c5, this pawn is, of course, a very strong pawn. So you're a pawn up, but is it really that good? We don't know. Okay, what did he do? Rook g2 is played to trade off the rooks. He does not go king b1. Will Vincent now trade off the rooks, or will he play something like rook e3? Rook e8 now wouldn't work because of d7 check, losing the rook and losing the game. All right. So, okay, let's see, chat. What will he do? What will he do? Is the Fabi Sindarov tiebreak after Magnus game? Yes, it is. He goes rook takes g2. He trades off the rooks. And now after bishop takes, I feel like king d7 makes all the sense in the world to be able to bring the rook up to the e file. And really important, this bishop on c3 is preventing this rook from coming to the e file. So the file that is making the rooks happy, the e file, is only available for Vincent. So I think king d7 looks very natural. But the problem now is going to be this pawn. This is going to be Vincent's next issue. If the pawn was somewhere else, or if this was on g6, this would obviously be a lot better. But this is now the next issue. I want to hear what the commentary is saying.
One here too. So actually, yeah, I mean, that's definitely the desirable move. If Black had one more turn here to get to safety, defend his pawns. But it's just a timing issue suddenly for Vincent.
Bishop b4!
He might still play it though. He might play that one. He does.
Bishop b4, and this also, I believe, makes human sense because this bishop is defending this pawn and it's going to defend it forever. But now the problem is that after takes and takes, we can go bishop h3, or Magnus can go bishop h3. And this now starts becoming really scary, because where does the knight go? Okay, the knight maybe goes here. But yeah, this is just going to be really a very difficult pawn to defend. And okay, maybe I don't even know where you go, honestly. I don't even know where you go, because if you go something like king over there, like, you can even pick this up, and it's just going to be a pawn up for Magnus. I am starting to think that the games are going to go completely different from what I thought. I thought Vincent was going to be able to get a draw here, and I thought Fabi was going to win. And I actually now think Magnus might win this game, and, well, we saw that Fabi became a draw. So, yeah, it is just... It's crucial, though, for him to take here and go for this bishop h3 idea, but this is Magnus Carlsen we're talking about, and I do think that he's going to find this. So takes, bishop h3. How can you defend this pawn? I don't know. I mean, rook f8. Here, obviously, this doesn't work. If you go there, well, then king d7, this pawn is now not defended, but that's why you go a3, eliminating this knight, so that the knight doesn't defend the square, and then you go rook d5, and we can wave goodbye to this pawn. It is literally going to be a bye-bye pawn. So he takes it, and he's going to go bishop h3. I know it. Magnus Carlsen is going to go bishop h3. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Okay. Guys, I would bet my Pringles again on bishop h3. I know I've already bet them, but I still have one more can of Pringles to bet. Anna, you should train them, chat. It is so easy to sit and do commentary when you know what the best moves are. But I know myself, being at the board and playing these games is a whole different story than commentating. Like, it's completely impossible to understand the difference. It's just, yeah, you can't understand the difference. Like, it's a whole different story. What are the chances of tomorrow the Pringles will all be gone? Well, I'm betting them, so like you guys are getting them, but not really. But no, they will be here. They will be here. Yeah, we were literally watching the engine and with zero stress. Like, sitting there, no engine, filled with stress, filled with the tension. Such a different story. It's like uncomparable. But very exciting matches today for sure. So it looks like if Magnus finds this move, bishop h3 is really going to be able to put the pressure, but he goes a3 instead, which is also a good move because it does the same thing. Now we are going to be seeing the knight going back to c6, and then I believe we will see bishop h3. So it's the same thing as what we saw before, but with a different move order. It still was yeah, so a3, threatening the knight will have to move back, and then we're gonna see bishop h3. It's the exact same thing as before. So yeah, I mean, guys, like, it's the same thing. He's gonna go bishop h3. My Pringles have not been lost, okay? Look at this. Now he's gonna go bishop h3. Just wait for it. Wait for bishop h3. Cyrex, thank you so much for resubscribing 2 months. There we go. Bishop h3. Same thing, different move order. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So there we have it. Now threatening the pawn. And literally the only way of defending the pawn is by going rook f8. But rook f8 is a very sad move due to rook d5. So I think Vincent, he just realized it. And I think now things are turning around. Maybe he realized it before, but that was definitely a phase of, man, I messed up. We see the eyebrow raise. We see all the physical signs of someone feeling like they've messed up. And it's happening right now in real time. Look at those eyebrow movements that we're witnessing. Look at those eyebrow movements. So, you know, we might see another tie. I mean, if Magnus wins this game, there's going to be a tiebreaker here too. So it would be 2 tiebreakers, which would be crazy. So thank you so much, Super Blonde, for resubscribing 3 months. Great match with Alexandra yesterday. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, he's thinking, what does he do? He could also go king b8, but then bishop takes f5, then try to do something like this to threaten it, but you just go c5. And now I guess you have to go b6, but then this pawn is going to be falling as well. And I mean, it could become a situation where Magnus ends up being almost 2 pawns up because this pawn is just going to get so weak. So yeah, we will see. 2 minutes 28 for Vincent Keymer. I'm gonna put the
Black
commentary
pawn on
on
the right side of the board.
And just to show that, I think Vincent should try this, as Levy pointed out, just because otherwise you're sitting there waiting for your doom. So bishop takes pawn now, and if you get greedy and grab the other pawn, I mean, this would be a very natural move. Then the problem is you have 2 forked pawns here.
He's shaking his head. Look at that.
Simply. And
he has
I think
realized
to a light square is nearly
that he's
never
probably messed
desirable
up.
because the
This
black
could
king
be
will always have an eye
heartbreaking.
on this pawn now. Defend the dark squares, blockade on the dark squares.
Vincent is not happy.
He's not. He's shaking his head.
He's shaking his
chair,
head.
And you can see the pressure, you know, this feeling that I've really messed this up. This was so close to wrap up, you know, having everything under control. What have I gotten myself into? This is Magnus Carlsen in an endgame. He's the one who's pushing. How did I get myself
Tanya.
here?
I think you have to play knight a5. Like, if you play rook f8, it's almost resignation. You will subject yourself to the Magnus pressure for the next 15 moves until he breaks you down.
The Magnus effect is real in these positions.
Yeah.
Crazy. Crazy. Magnus has completely turned around the game and he has created magic. We said, how will Magnus Carlsen pull out a rabbit out of a hat? And he did it. The rabbit is out. The rabbit is out. We're seeing him doing the magic tricks we were talking about before. And wow, incredible. He has less than a minute. Vincent with less than a minute. He doesn't know exactly what to do. And will he go rook f8? Will he go knight e5? I think honestly he missed this idea of bishop h3, rook d5. It looks like it. So he has 30 seconds left. Vincent Keymer, his whole chair is shaking. I wish we could see the heart rates, but we can't for some reason. But I wish we could see the heart rate monitor. I mean, 18 seconds for Vincent Keymer. He must make a move soon. And he goes knight a5, the move that Levy said he should make. He goes for the most active move, which I do think Levy's correct about. After bishop takes f5, we are going to see king b8. If c5 now, well, then actually he could go king d7. And after bishop takes f5, he can go king c6. And now that the king is able to get out of this little box and is able to become active, this is now a much more solvable position for Vincent Keymer. So c5 is not a good move. Magnus should take the pawn and now stop the king from being able to reach c6. So king b8, c5, and now if knight b3 check and something like this, king bishop takes h7, this is probably the kind of position that we could see. So yeah, bishop takes f5, king b8, this is the current position. This is the current position. I'm hearing Chess India screaming. I don't know if something has happened in the Gukesh game. But now I do believe we are going to see c5. If any other move but c5, b6 is pretty much coming. So, I mean, if bishop here, obviously, then just takes. But, so, c5, and then, yeah, knight b3 check. This does make sense. But the sad part is that, yeah, this is kind of coming as well. Bishop e6 by Magnus Carlsen. He does not play c5 because he doesn't want to fall for this fork, which is very, you know, it makes sense for a human. Now there is b6 though. So now Vincent could play b6 and prevent the pawn from pushing to c5. This is now crucial. He needs to play b6, pretty much at least. Yeah, I mean, okay, he can do something else too, but he goes b6, which is the best move, and Vincent Keymer might be back in the game. I mean, we're going to see a long endgame, but Vincent Keymer might be back in the game. It might not just be a win, and you can instantly almost tell in Vincent's face that he's happier now. Is that just me? Like, I feel like he looks slightly less desperate now than before. But Magnus should have allowed this knight to come in here and then picked up the h7 pawn and started pushing the h pawn. But it wasn't easy to know that he should get rid of the c pawn. It wasn't easy to know. And both players are right now playing a bullet game. The pressure is high. It's intense. And b6 is now on the board. So how does Magnus Carlsen continue? Okay, well, maybe he goes c5 anyways. But now the crazy part is that we don't even want to take it, which is completely insane in my opinion. No, after c5, the best move is actually to go knight b7, which to me just looks insane. And the idea is now that with b6, you're not just preventing the pawn from going to c5, but you're actually now creating this square for the knight to jump into. And if you jump, bam, then you take. And if takes, well, then this pawn is going to be weak forever. You go here, okay, we can go knight over there. So what does he do? He goes king c2. And now knight b7 is coming. How do you defend the pawn? I think Vincent Keymer is making a comeback. Knight b7, how do you defend this pawn? It's undefendable. The pawn is finally gone. This is amazing. For Vincent, you know, not for Magnus, obviously. So knight b7, he plays it, and now what is Magnus' reaction? I mean, did he see this? How does he now defend the pawn? I don't know. He goes d7, but let me ask you a question. Knight c5, where do you go? Okay, you go bishop f5. So what do we want to do then? Okay, what happens if we go king c7 first? You go bishop there, no worries. I go h6. How are you going to take it? How are you going to take it? King c7, best move right now for Vincent Keymer. Or to go h6, but we want to make sure that this pawn is not on a light square. So things could be changing. Vincent is calculating. He's kind of nodding, which I think means that he knows that he's still in the game. It's not over. He's keeping his nerves in check, and he goes for the best move, king c7, which is fantastic. So yeah, there we go, king c7. This is amazing. Now, this pawn is going to be more attacked. You place a knight on c5, and let me tell you, we're soon going to wave goodbye to this pawn. It is humanly impossible to defend it, because you're going to have 1, 2, and 3 pieces attacking it, only 2 defending it. So, okay, now the rook wants to come over here, but let's say we go knight c5. Let me ask you something. How do you defend? He's gonna go rook over here. Okay, no worries. We can go h6 if we want to. Like, it's no worries. So, I think knight c5 is coming very soon. He is shaking his chair. I want to see Magnus's face. Does he look happy? Does he not look happy? This is now the moment of truth. Is Magnus Carlsen going to be knocked out with a draw, or will he be able to take on Vincent Keymer and go to the tiebreakers? He goes knight c5. Vincent is keeping his nerves in check. Magnus goes bishop h3, but after knight takes d7, that pawn that was controlling the whole position for Magnus Carlsen, this d7 pawn is going to be gone, and after this it's going to be equal material, and I don't see how Magnus Carlsen is going to come back and get a win. I don't see it. He has to try to go something like rook f7. He has to try to do something like this, but then, I mean, we go h5 maybe. Sure, you might go rook h7, but we're going to see king over here, and then after something like this, knight e5, and this pawn is also very weak. But Vincent Keymer with only 15 seconds to go. What will he play? What will he play? 10 seconds. He has to make a move. He takes on d7. Best move. Rook f7 instantly by Magnus. Magnus is keeping the pressure. He's attacking on h7. Vincent with only 30 seconds to go. He has to make a move quickly now too. Will he go king d6? Will he go h5? We might just simply see king d6, and then with the idea that after rook takes h7, we have something like knight e5. But I also like the idea of going h5 first, because then this rook is not going to be looking towards a7. So king d6 is played. He plays it with 11 seconds, and now rook will take on h7. I think we're going to see Magnus picking up that pawn pretty quickly. And will Vincent Keymer be able to survive this endgame? He's a pawn down, but now he has a lot of activity. And activity, as we know in endgames, is crucial. And this king is actually becoming very strong. This king is coming up, and it's becoming really, really, really good. So I think we are going to see knight e5. I think we're going to see this pawn be under attack. But yeah, we are going to figure it out now very soon. Oh, I will also put this over here, guys, so you can see what the times are. Okay, he goes knight f6, sorry, he goes knight f6, threatening the rook. Now the idea is that if rook all the way over here, there's rook h8, and this bishop is under attack, and when the bishop moves, this rook can come down here to h2, and this should be a survivable endgame. So we see here Magnus Carlsen has to find a win out of a position the engine is saying is a draw. But is it a dead draw? Is it a practical draw? What is it? Vincent Keymer looks like he's much more back in the game. He looks happy. It looks as if he knows that he could very much be going to the finals, and this is a very big moment in the whole tournament. So Magnus is thinking now, minute 38 to go for him. How will he find a way to win? He must win. If he draws, Magnus Carlsen is eliminated and will not go to the finals after Vincent Keymer's win yesterday. So how can Magnus Carlsen find a win? This is really exciting. So will he take on h7? Will he go? I don't think he will, because this just looks too terrifying to allow this to come down. I think you have to try to play with your pawn. So maybe we'll see rook h4, but then the issue is that we have a lot of different moves. For instance, rook g8. This rook can come into activity. Another move that we have is also just to simply bring up the king. Like, you can go king c5, you can go king e5. You can go to a lot of places with the king. So actually Magnus ends up going rook f7, and we see king e5 immediately by Vincent Keymer. And now, I mean, yeah, Magnus could take this, but rook h8, and then if rook check, king d4. Look how active this king is becoming. So bishop f1 is played instead, just so that this idea of rook h8 is not possible. But now maybe we can activate our knight. Maybe this knight can come up to e4. We don't care about this pawn. Why do we not care about the pawn? Because there's rook d2 check, and then we could pick this one up as well. So knight e4 looks very nice, but only 40 seconds. But yeah, Magnus really has to try to keep this h pawn, because otherwise I just don't know how he's going to try to win. Maybe here he can go h4, but rook d2 check, and then something like rook over here. I just don't see how you keep that h pawn. 27 seconds for Victor Keymer. 27 seconds. $16 seconds. Okay, he goes a5, which is also a very safe move. Now he's not allowing Magnus to pick up that pawn anymore. Wait, did I say Victor? Sorry, I don't know why I keep calling him Victor. Vincent. Did I say Victor? Vincent Keymer. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I keep calling him Victor. Vincent, sorry. Yeah, all right. Vincent. Victor for victory, exactly. That is that. Okay. So, a5 on the board, and this move is just a very solid move. Now the pawn is safe. Magnus Carlsen, you cannot pick up the pawn, you know? You cannot pick up the a7 pawn, so how will you continue? h4 makes sense. You have to try to get some activity with this pawn. At least this create some fear. But rook h8 is coming, and then how do you defend this pawn? It's just undefendable. It is so sad. So I do think that the knight e4 is a move that probably has to be played at some point. Something like this could also happen. What does he do? He goes check, rook e7 check. Okay, king d4. Come on, activity. King goes up. King goes up, everybody. King goes up. Let's do it, Vincent. $25, $24. King goes up, Vincent, with no fear. It is a pawn down for Vincent, but what he lacks in pawns, he has in knights. No, he has an activity. So rook e6, and he's now threatening both the knight and the pawn. Magnus playing very fast, and I mean, now there's knight e4. There's also knight g4, which looks really good because if h3, you know, little forky fork, knight e3 check, and you're gonna be able to take this. So 30 seconds for Vincent. Will he go knight g4? Yes, he will. Knight g4, fantastic move, and we're gonna wave goodbye to this pawn on h2. It is undefendable. Undefendable. You can also not pick this up because knight e3 check, and after king b3, funnily enough, the engine still thinks this is a draw because this pawn might be hanging as well. But yeah, knight g4. I don't think he's gonna go rook takes b6. I don't think he's gonna go rook takes b6. Magnus, I mean, yeah, I don't think so. What a moment for Vincent Keymer. What a fantastic moment. So he goes bishop e2. Now trying to, yeah, now the idea is that if knight takes a2, this knight is actually trapped. So this was a really, really sneaky move because you cannot take the pawn. I missed it. I actually thought it was bye-bye pawn. But at least now after king b3, finally we can go rook h8, and now it will be bye-bye pawn. So maybe we'll see something like this, but this has to, like, yeah, you're not going to lose both of them. So where will the king go? I think the king will go up to b3 so that the king has a better pathway to a4 to be able to pick this pawn up. He goes king b3, and rook h8 is instantly played by Vincent. Look at that. Vincent knows what to do. Vincent is a strong grandmaster, and Vincent knows exactly what to do. Yeah, it's incredible. Actually incredible. So I'm just trying to, I mean, is there any way you can kind of trick? Like, there's this idea of going h3, this check here and here. But yeah, I don't know if this tricks anything. You can just go rook g3 and then try to go knight f5. I was trying to pin the knight. 17 seconds for Magnus. 17 seconds for Magnus. 7, 6, 5. He goes rook takes b6, and I think now we're going to see rook takes h2. What? Okay, I think rook takes h2 happened. We had some weird maneuvers. But, yeah. Yeah, I think he just went rook takes h2. So, that was that. We're also seeing some other results. I'm seeing that Firusha may have lost the game versus Noterback. So, we actually have this kind of similar idea to what I was talking about before, but I think here you can just go... Can you not go knight f1? Ah, you cannot! You cannot! And this, everybody, is why I am not the one playing. So, Vincent Keymer now with 2 minutes on the clock. He is thinking. Can you take? Isn't this an instant draw? Wait, knight takes c4. Isn't this an instant draw? Rook h3? What's going on? He's gonna take over here too. It's actually gonna be Vincent that pushes for the win. Yeah, Vincent knows that it's over. Draw! The game is draw, and Vincent Keymer is going to the finals. Wow, Vincent Keymer is going to the finals. He knocks out Magnus Carlsen in the semifinals of the Freestyle Grand Slam, this first leg in Weissenhaus. That is a huge result by Vincent. That is a huge result. He managed to defend this beautiful endgame. He's only 20 years old. What an incredible result. And he knocks out the world #1 player, Magnus Carlsen, who won this tournament last year. Wow, what an incredible game by Vincent. What an incredible match by Vincent. And this is going to be so exciting to see the finals. The smile on his face was just shining. And I kind of want to see Magnus's face. Are they discussing?
Momentous occasion that we've just witnessed, but a fantastic form of defense there, showing he had all the gears. Yesterday he attacked Magnus, beat Magnus. Today he was able to dig deep and hold. And
Magnus, you know, he was really trying, like he was really giving. He found some amazing ways of being able to pressure Vincent, and at one point it looked like the game had turned around and Magnus was going to be able to win. But what a fantastic defense by Vincent there in the end game. Absolutely fantastic. Wow. Well, guys, Magnus Carlsen is out now, but you will be seeing more of him in this tour. So, you know, there's going to be plenty of more tournaments in this tour. There's now this one in Weissenhaus, but it's going to be back in Paris. It's going to be back in New York. It's going to be back in India, and it's going to be back in South Africa. So if you guys had fun seeing Magnus Carlsen play freestyle chess, you will be seeing more of him, obviously, throughout this year in this tour.
Keymer is a finalist, which is wild.
Unbelievable. I mean, Magnus Carlsen, you know, you think of him, you think of unstoppable, unbeatable, undefeatable. Vincent just does the unthinkable right now. Takes him down.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
You know what, guys? I think Vincent deserves a big clap. Can we all, like, I want to show how, like, our whole community, like, gave Vincent Keymer a big, like, you know, we should, like, you know, clap our hands for him. That was an impeccable performance by him to be able to knock Magnus Carlsen out. That is just absolutely amazing. Really impressive. Really, really, really impressive. There's one game to go, and that is Hikaru Nakamura versus Gukesh, and we're gonna tune in to see how that game looks like, because it is the final game that we have before all the tiebreakers and everything. So we're gonna check out this game and let's see how this is looking. All right. So, I actually haven't seen much of this game, but I'm seeing a lot of brilliant moves. So let's actually just take it from the beginning, because I'm really curious to see how everything unfolded. So we did see this moment of D4, and then we saw this moment of B4. And then we saw this move G4. So I think that was the last time we were here when this knight was going to come up. Gukesh ended up playing C4. Giving this pawn on G3 to Hikaru. Takes, queen went back, rook F1, threatening the knight, knight G5, and all of this looks really nice for Hikaru. And Hikaru found this beautiful move, knight C5. It's a brilliant move, double exclamation mark, threatening the queen, cannot be taken because the queen is hanging, and threatening this pawn. So queen D2 was played, and instead of taking on A4, he went knight E4. Which I am confused, because what happens if takes? There's queen G3 check, king H1, and bishop D5. What a move. What a line by him, by Hikaru. Wow, what an amazing move. So didn't take, queen B2, bishop takes C4, takes, knight G3. Hikaru was just outplaying him right now. They went back and forth. Hikaru wanted to go for the win. Trades off. But now Hikaru, unfortunately, yeah, he should have gone king b8 apparently. But when king c7, which I'm not sure why it makes such a big difference. I guess maybe because the rook is able to come in. Ruka fade. Takes. 95, 96. Oh. Well, I guess, yeah, he did this because... Yeah, so this... Takes. And now it's just an equal endgame. Well, it's not equal because he's a pawn up, but it should be able to be survivable for Gukesh. Wow. And it's probably going to end up being a draw. Wow. Wow. So many draws. So many draws. Wow. This will probably end up being a draw, but obviously Hikaru's going to push for a bit more because he is a pawn up. But it's just because Gukesh's king is so active. Also, like, it's not just that. Like, can Gukesh go for the win, you know? Like, you don't want to take here. Oh, sorry, it's black to move. Oh, it's check. What happens if you go king f6? Okay, I guess you go h5. Can you do this? h4? Can you, like, try to play for the win? He goes king f6. I mean, I think now Hikaru must go h5 to try to play for the win. Or, sorry, to try to, like, not, you know, have Gukesh play for the win. I mean, okay, also knight h2, maybe? Yeah, knight h2, actually, is just a drawing move. Knight h2, maybe he will play. He goes... What does he do? Has he played a move? I think he's played h5. Yeah, h5 is on the board. And maybe we will see g5. I mean, if takes, it's going to be an instant draw. But maybe we will see after h5, g5. But then... Yeah, what is going on? h4? Bishop f1? This gets a bit more spicy. This gets a bit more spicy, but it's not going to be as spicy because it's going to end up with this being traded anyways. And we see now that, yeah, it would be an easy draw. So, Hikaru's time ticking, 10 seconds. 8? He has to make a move. Oh, okay, several moves have happened. I freaked out. He's kind of shaking his head because he knows it's a draw. And yeah, they're instantly playing out these moves. I started freaking out for Hikaru's time, honestly. But it should be fine. It should be fine. But yeah, what is happening here? This is going to be going to tiebreakers. Most probably. Twink Tommy, thank you for the 200 bits. Big grats on your epic win yesterday. It was a super interesting match to follow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, wow. Okay, let's see how this game finishes. I think now we might just see knight. Okay, he's going for the one. h3. Bishop. Yeah, now knight takes g5, king takes a6, and draw. Guys, this game is about to be a draw. Did they shake hands? No. Okay, but they're about to. Yeah, there we go. Hikaru Nakamura. He promotes to bishop. Hikaru promotes to bishop. What's going on over here? He promoted to piece that he didn't even have to take. That is hilarious. Okay. He did it for the memes, I think, chat. He did it for the memes. Is he gonna play it out? He's playing it out. Yes. He's playing it out. Okay, now after takes, they're gonna shake hands. And there we go. And it is a draw. Game finishes in a draw between Hikaru and Gukesh. And Hikaru does seem a bit upset. Probably because it's been the same thing as has happened in a lot of his games here. That he's had a great position, but he hasn't been able to fully convert it to a win. So it's probably just being, yeah, pretty upsetting that is happening. But all those games are now finished. So this is going to be going to tiebreakers. The Fabi game is going to be going to tiebreakers as well. We have lots of really exciting games. And yeah, guys, I am actually not going to be following any more of the games because I have a video that I have to film. that I have my slot now to film. So I will not be able to follow the tiebreakers, but I will be sending you to the main commentary where you guys will be able to follow the tiebreakers. I do hope that you guys have had a lot of fun watching these games with me though. I'll be back on Friday with the finals where we will see if it's Vincent Keymer or whoever else goes to finals that will be becoming the winners of this. But I do hope that you guys have had a lot of fun with me commentating. I'll be back on Friday streaming. Check out my videos. I'm posting my Hikaru Nakamura video today, so check that one out. I'm gonna send over a raid to Freestyle, so don't go anywhere so that you guys are able to follow the action. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then, you know, tune in to the stream as well. I'm going to be sending over a raid. I'll send it over to Freestyle Chess. Yeah. So raid Freestyle Chess. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. It was so much fun to commentate with you, and have a fantastic rest of your day. Check out the YouTube channel, check out my merch store, and maybe play some Freestyle Chess yourself. Try it out. Thank you so much, YouTube. Thank you so much, Twitch. Let's see who goes to the finals. Will it be Javakir or will it be Fabiano? Stay tuned. That was pretty epic. Okay, I'm gonna finish off there. Bye bye, everybody.